Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the Code for Giants Cup number 11, your bi-weekly dose of Brazilian StarCraft. I'm, of course, your site VIP. With me, I'm joined by the amazing players before me, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome. Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. It is almost 9 a.m. in the morning, and we are here, ready for some StarCraft action, ready for a PvP as we're jumping into our first series. If you're in the chat, I recommend the votes. The votes? What? The brackets! Exclamation mark! Be in the chat! If you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, the bracket is live. The bracket is full of amazing players, and we have our first series here before you. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Eximius Gaming. It is Shaq-T. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player from the land of Brazil, representing Team Hellfire. It is Allison, aka Alicod. Let's go. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Oh, we're cannon rushing. Oh my god. Okay, this I was not quite expecting. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Shaq-T, I would say, currently is the best Protoss player in Brazil, the best Protoss in Latino America. But Allison is rocking up with the cannon rush. Pylons have been thrown down. Boys are being pulled. Can we wall off the probe? Oh, the probe takes a lot of damage. Takes a lot of hits. The probe has to back. Oh no, the probe goes down. We have a second probe coming in, but this is a brutal start for Allison. Probe is coming. Oh, we wall off! He fully walls off! Yeah, Allison just locked outside of the main base, is attempting to cannon rush on the low ground, and there's not much else going on behind this. Just the forge, just the cannons, and Shaq-T has the Zealot on the way. Zealot's being credited as we speak. Do have a second pylon to fully wall off. Cannon can be placed, I believe, but are we really going to try to cannon rush up the ramp into a Zealot? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Pylon is going to be targeted down, and with that, the cannon rush has ended. Yeah, we have to expand. Oh, we have. I'm loving the pylon to just wall in the Zealot. Let's go. God, but we are going to be jumping in. Pylon is targeted down. Behind this, we have a second Zealot on the way as well. And the terrifying thing right now is that Allison has nothing at home. There's a gateway. There's one gateway in production. There's a pylon on the way for a cannon as well. Zealots are going to be able to walk across the map, and once they do, there's not really much to stop them. Not like this. Hold on, I'll fix up the names as well. My brain is going to want to say Alicod, and it just sounds weird. There we go. There it is, GG. GG gets called, and Shaq-T will take game number 1. This is not quite what I was expecting. Like, jumping into this series, for those who maybe are unfamiliar with the scene, Allison is a player that we've casted before. He's a very strong Protoss player in his own right, especially amongst the Brazilian players. Is coming in as the underdog, and I wasn't expecting a cannon rush at the start of the series, to start off the broadcast, but I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Give me more. Oh god, what's going on? Not like this. As our players are getting the next lobby ready, and we will soon be jumping in. Hopefully we're able to slip in. Beautiful. And all right, I have to. Sorry, the game ended so quickly. Like, my brain didn't even register what happens. So Shaq-T takes a lead. Shaq-T takes a lead in the series, and we'll see if he can bring it home. We'll see what Allison has ready for us. Let's go. As we're jumping on in. I also recommend the VODs. True, you know what? I mean, I still do recommend the VODs as well. If you're unable to tune in live, true. Look, I just woke up. By that I mean I didn't really get much sleep, but I woke up at like 5 a.m. in the morning. It's not ideal, but it's fine. And here we go, we're jumping into game number 2, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Ximius Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is CranKy. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the other Brazilian Protoss, the Red Protoss, representing Team Hellfire. It is Allison. I'll work on the name. What color? Red. Bam. Beautiful. Here we go. So our PvP does continue. This time, no Forge. This time, no Cannon Rush. Allison is going to be calming things down and settling into a much more standard PvP, I would assume. The probes are being sent out, worker scouts are upon us, and both players will just get a read on what's going on. We'll get a read on each other. Make sure there's no proxy, make sure there's no cheese. It's been like a year or so since I've last casted Allison, so I'm not entirely certain how he will approach this and how he will deal with the problem that is a CranKy. That is a 2-gate opener from CranKy. I only see 1 gateway for Allison. Is Allison going for a gate expand? Second pylon has been placed, and do we go for the expansion? Okay, Cybercore. So it's going to be Gate, Cyber, into Nexus. This can lead into a Stargate first. I mean, second gas gauge has been taken. Essentially, Allison is going for the max packs opener, which is quite greedy, and it may just trigger a response out of CranKy. Usually whenever max pack goes to something like this, it does kind of trigger a 1-base all-in response. CranKy will have that available. It's going to be on Allison to make sure that that does not occur, or if it does, that he's able to confirm what's going on. Probe does slip in. Meanwhile, Zod has arrived, probe gets shut down, and it is going to be the initial Stargate first. Stargate for Allison into Oracle, into expansion. If there was a 1-base all-in coming up from CranKy, then this void rate, then the Stargate can produce a void rate to defend. Safety shield battery as well, so Allison playing very safely, in a sense, again being quite greedy. We see CranKy responds by going for a single unit into an expansion. Basically, CranKy opened up Sentry without a second unit from the second Stargate, or sorry, from the second gateway, and rush into a much faster expansion. So CranKy responds with even more greed. So upon seeing the opener of his opponent, just responds with a fast Nexus, and now suddenly the pressure is going to be a lot more on Allison instead. As the rocks are being knocked down. Second pylon underway, and again this should be leading into an Oracle, into Oracle harass. Likewise, CranKy even scouting, making sure that everything's okay. Hallucination is moving out. Ooh, meanwhile, a bit of a supply block. That third pylon was delayed. It was a little bit too late. Oracle is now on the way, and the hallucination should be able to confirm. CranKy slips in and gets eyes on the gases, the tech, the Twilight Council, the Stargate, and the expansion as well. And CranKy's going to be feeling pretty good about this position. Just has to make sure that he's able to defend and survive against the Oracle. Speaking of in the main, we have two Stalkers in position. Likewise, Sentries at the natural. Sentries are not as fragile, they're not as vulnerable to Oracles like they once were at the start of the year. Can hold their own. The Oracle does move out. Likewise, Adept does shade in. Is going to threaten the Sentries. Oracle likewise times in as well. Gets 1 probe, gets 2. 2 workers go down. The Oracle takes a lot of damage. Again, that was all just through Sentry attacks even. They're no longer just tickled, not in PvP. Sentries do that much more damage. Oracle does get away. Hallucination will confirm. There is going to be a 3-gate follow-up. This is interesting. Going for an extra gateway. This could actually lead into some more aggression from Allison instead of going for a 3rd expansion. We'll see how many warp ins. Speaking of aggression, glaives are on the way. Oh, my apologies. Glaives from CranKy. I'm still waking up. So Blink is halfway done. It's going to be Glaives and Immortal production. So CranKy is going for Glaive Adepts and Immortals. It should be going for a 3rd, but just for a bit of saturation, and should be committing here on a pretty hefty 2-base economy. I mean, Adept Immortal can hit like a truck. And we do see Allison going for a 4th gateway. Okay. Aggression. Aggression all around. Oh my god. So straight up 2-base all in here by Shakti, and Allison as well, likewise applying some 2-base aggression as well. Not quite as all in, not quite as committed, but still that's a lot of Stalkers. Now in a head-to-head fight, I do favor Stalkers versus Adepts, but that's where the Immortals come into play. How many Immortals is Shakti on? 2. 2 Immortals, has Force Fields available as well. Shakti looking to expand, but Shakti, I believe, has missed the army. And here come more Warpins. Allison is going to be pushing in. Allison on 13 Stalkers with Blink. No 3rd base, no Forge, no nothing. Does poke in. Doesn't lose anything yet. Will pull away, catches the Prism. Not bad. War Prism goes down. War Prism does fall. Shakti attempting to catch one of the Zealots, but alas, has a less mobile army. Gets 1 Zealot in the end. More Warpins on the way. Charge now in production. Extra gateways as well for Allison. Again, it's going to be all or nothing for both players. And we could end up in a weird base trade. Uh-oh. And if we do, I actually think I favor Allison here. I mean, Allison has that much more to work with to the natural, at least immediately. Stasis in the main. Shakti moves out. Who's going to be the first to push into the natural? Looks like it is going to be Allison. Yeah, Allison's going to be the first to strike. Shakti not too far behind. Goes for the recall. Doesn't give it to the base trade. Yeah, Force Fields the army. Looks down the Zealots at least. Stalkers, they try to focus on the first Immortal. And where's the Overcharge? Yeah, Overcharge is not available. 1 Immortal goes down. Shakti does defend. Oh, do you have a reinforcing Immortal getting caught out as well? Up! Oh, unable to be saved. The Immortal, the Prism will escape. Good pickups from Allison, but that was a lot of Stalkers going down. Shakti does have the supply lead. Oh, Prism does fall. Shakti rallying into the Stalkers. He does try to collapse in, and will be able to. Takes out another Stalker. Shakti behind this will expand, and now can commit. That's still a lot of Stalkers, though. And with only 1 Immortal, I don't think Shakti can quite break this. Not anymore. With 3 Immortals, sure. But with only 1. Allison a little bit trigger happy with that Overcharge. The Overcharge is going to buy some time. Shakti pulling away. And even though Shakti has a 3rd base and has, I would say, more potential with his army, I mean, Allison has likewise the ability to kind of maneuver around, to blink into the main, to bypass the main army and head into the natural. Allison has potential. Not out of this yet. Oracle still posing a threat. Allison rotating around. Going for the dive. Gets 1 Immortal. There's 2 more Immortals though. Yeah, 2 more Immortals. There's the Overcharge as well, keeping them alive. Oof, and the blink gets punished. So many Stalkers go down. Shakti will defend. Now fighting out of range of the shield batteries. And pushing forward, gets eyes on the proxy. Oh my god. And we'll start step forward. GG gets called. It's just too much to handle, and Shakti will take game number 1. Oh, sorry, game number 2 in the series, 2-0. GG. In my mind, game 1 didn't even happen. It was like a 2-minute like cannon rush. But GG, well played. Congratulations. Shakti will take the series, will advance on. My condolences to Allison. I mean, it was a pretty intense kind of setup there, very intense game state, but regardless, GG. GG, congratulations to Shakti. We'll make it in the next round, and the question becomes, who will be Shakti's next opponent? Let's find out. Exclamation mark, be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves. There's a lot to go over. Okay, from the top. And I can actually just try to zoom in. There we go. We can actually read. We have Firebat versus Tuca in the first round. Winner goes up against Eric. Eric, one of our own, the CranKy Duckling himself, is waiting in the second round, in the round 16. Scrolling down, we have Byhammer versus Vitorino as well, currently mid-series. Scrolling down, we have Ocorado. No, my apologies. Ocodado, even, going up against Marova. We have Shakti versus Allison. We have Inexorable waiting for the winner of, oh god, these. Espartano, 007, interesting. Up against Ogune. We have Mantequina as well. Oh, sorry, Manteca. We have Mantequilla even. That is margarine, for those that are curious. I remember Cosmos, he was telling me why he's called that, and apparently he like puts margarine on everything. He just really likes it. He really likes butter. It's like, okay. I understand, I guess. Up against Kilo, we have Kamikaze, we have Tarakiba, and Arez as well. So looks like the first round is still underway, but we are at least waiting for some matches to open up for us. Looks like our series was a little bit faster than the others, which makes sense considering the cannon rush. That's understandable. And we're waiting for our next opponents. But I guess we have some downtime. I guess we have a little bit of downtime here. When it comes to the favorite players in the tournament, I will say Eric and Shakti. I would actually say they're the top 2 players of the bracket of the entire tournament. It is a shame that both Eric and Shakti are seated on the same side of the bracket. That is a little bit unfortunate. So they ideally would be facing the semis. Meanwhile, in the lower half of the bracket, I would say it's most likely Inexorable and maybe Inexorable and Kamikaze. So potential TVT in the lower half of the bracket. But in Espanol, it's mantequilla, and in Portuguese, I guess it's mantequinha. There you go. But yeah. It's butter. For some reason. Just catching up. My brain wouldn't shut up today, and I don't think I got much to say. Yeah, it happens. I mean, I went to bed relatively early. I think I went to bed at like 10 p.m., but I woke up at like, 5 a.m., which I guess is a good amount of sleep. But I was hoping for a little bit more. Just randomly woke up. Couldn't go back to bed. Espartano. Okay. I assume that means a Spartan. Yep. Spartano is Spartan. Okay. We're learning Portuguese today. Acordado. Which I believe is which I believe is a Spanish word. Means to agree. But I guess for now we're gonna be going on a short break. And we're waiting for a couple of players to wrap up their matches before we jump in. And especially because, Eric is our boy, we're going to be trying to follow our players here. Follow Shakti and eventually Eric into the upper semis. That's at least what we're going to be focusing on. If you want to tune into some of Inexorable's matches, or Kamikaze, or Manteca, Mantequilla even, then you can tune into Cosmos. I believe Cosmos is in the lower half of the bracket. He's going to be casting, of course, in his native language, in Brazilian or Portuguese. He's going to be covering those series. Until then, I guess we're going to be going on a short break. Our series, it was too fast, man. It was too fast. But we'll be going on a short break. Will give us some time to wake up and to jump into our next series. We'll have some time. We see, yeah, we should see Eric. I mean, Eric, he's in game. We'll be catching him later on, I'm sure. Until then, we're going to be going on a break, and when we come back, we'll have our next series. See you guys soon. Take this moment, get some snacks, get some water, hydrate your hydras, massage your marines, drain your disruptors, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with some more StarCraft. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew, we apologize for the extended break, hope you enjoyed the brutal OC nonetheless, but welcome back to the second series of the night. Welcome back to the quarterfinals of the Code for Giants Cup number 11, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Ximius Gaming. It is Dorminoko. Or Acordado. Shake my head. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Ximius Gaming as well as their teammates. It is CranKy. And I had a bit of a lesson in Portuguese, so I was very confused. But acordado in Spanish means to confirm, or like agreed, or like, you know, I got you, like that sort of thing. That's what that word means. And so I just assumed that this was a player that I'd never seen before. I was like, oh yeah, cool. And I was speaking to CranKy, and CranKy was telling me, oh, Sleepy said BRB. And I'm like, Sleepy? Wait, what? Is this Dorminoko? And he's like, oh yeah, that's what that means. I should say, it's a pun because his name means the opposite in Portuguese. So apparently in Brazilian, acordado means to be awake. It means like, I'm awake, like I'm alert, like I'm here. As opposed to in Spanish, which is I got you, or I agree, sort of thing. So yeah, yeah, there you go. Now we know. So this is not a player that's never before seen on the channel, but this is Dorminoko, aka Sleepy, who I would say is one of the best Zerg players in Brazil at the moment. I would say maybe top 2, maybe top 3, still behind Eric, but a strong player nonetheless. There we go. Sorry, just setting up his name. Strong player nonetheless, and we'll see how he compares to CranKy. We shall see. Again, it was the previous edition where I want to say the highlight of the entire night was casting Dorminoko in his series against Yan. If you recall, in that ZVT, it was very intense, very back and forth. But how does he compare to CranKy? CranKy, who is the strongest Protoss in the region in Brazil. In Latino America. Let's go. Also, before I forget, predictions, they should have closed by now, but predictions would have been open in the chat. So, best of luck. Best of luck, Latin. As the reps are moving out. Likewise, Hatchcat's full standard opener out of our Zerg player, spreading his creep, getting his queens ready. Lings are amassing as well. He's just setting up. Likewise, CranKy takes on the tumor. Just trying to threaten the bases, denying some of the creep. If I do recall, I don't think I've actually seen much of Dorminoko's ZVP. I've seen him against Terran, don't get me wrong, and I've seen him very Roach heavy. I'm curious if he's willing to go, you know, Roach Ravager against Protoss, or if he's willing to try to cut corners and rush into Hydra, into Lurker. Does have options. Behind this, we have our take of choice. Going to be a Stargate opener here by CranKy, going into an Oracle. Overlord will confirm, we'll slip into the main and get eyes on the take of choice. Is aware of the Stargate, is aware of the Oracle. So standard open out of CranKy, getting to a third base, getting into not just one, but I imagine 2, 3 Oracles, harassing across the map, and establishing his third. So far so good. We are embracing the early game, getting into the mid game. Lings, they do come in for the surround, not bad. One Adept is gonna fall, nice pickup, and can we get the other? More Lings do flood in. And it looks like we should be able to get both Adepts, a probe as well. Very nice attention to detail there from the Zerg player. Able to take down both Adepts and force back the Oracle. Behind this, that's going to be a 4-minute lair for our Zerg player. I mentioned before I was curious if we were going to be embracing Roach Ravager, but upon seeing the third, upon seeing the opener, it looks like Dorminoko is embracing Ling Hydra. I'm assuming because of the faster lair, it's going to lead into a faster Hydra then. I'm assuming. We shall see. This +1 melee is on the way. And +1 melee to help support those Lings. Double Oracle moving out. Third Oracle's on the way behind this. And we'll see if CranKy can find any damage. So far, the Queens are keeping up. Yeah, plenty of Queens in position. Plenty of Queen's going to be rotating. Spores are set up in each mineral line. One spore for each base. And so far, so good. Blink Stalkers, oh sorry, I should say Stalkers are revealed. Blink is on the way. I don't see a Forge though, no +1. Uh-oh. Without a Forge, without +1, I'm leaning towards this becoming a 3-base all-in. We're still in a low gateway count though. So I'm waiting for the gateway explosion. We have a handful of gates on the way. Shakti poking in. There's that Hydrogen almost done now for the Zerg player. Again, going Ling Hydra. And Ling Hydra is ideal against Blink Stalkers. As again, still no Forge for the Protoss. Still no Forge for Shakti. That is concerning. There we go, Forge now on the way, but it's heavily delayed for the Protoss. And as a result, he's going to have a bit of a harder time scaling up into a longer game state. Link's going to cross the map, going for the Stalker. They do force the overcharge. Link's have to back off. Oh, catching out the Stalker. Going for another, but won't quite be able to get one. Leagues are cleaned up, but back at home, the Hydra count is slowly building up. Fourth base now being taken. The fourth is a little bit later here for Dominoko. He was more concerned with establishing himself on 3 bases, on the 3-base economy first. We'll see if he can keep up with Shakti. Bleeding out of Hydra. Nice target firing from the blue Protoss. Kiting back, takes down the Lings. That we should be like, no. God, every time there's a moment like this, I hold my breath. I'm like, is my internet going down? Not again. But alas, it is gonna be Sleepy's internet struggling a little bit here. Unfortunately, if he does lag out, we can always remake. It's all good. This did happen last edition as well, actually. I mean, it happened to everyone. I remember there was a game where Dominoko lagged out, I lagged out, I think Shakti lagged out as well. Everyone lagged out. Yes. Latin American internet and Australian internet as well. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. It is a little bit awkward because the fight was kind of happening. Thankfully, it wasn't like an intense one. So if we do have to remake, then we should be able to do so without too much issue. We can maybe wind it back by a couple of seconds. But thankfully we do have the technology to resume from replay. So we can always bring it back. I think the last time we had an issue like this, it wasn't the internet that had dropped for Dominoko, but it was actually his power going out. So hopefully that isn't the case here. Well, I should say hopefully even if it is the case, it can be resolved. So yeah, we're gonna have to wind it back. But yeah, we weren't able to really get too much out of that. I mean, both players were kind of keeping up with each other. Again, Shakti was behind when it came to upgrades. Meanwhile, Dominoko had a later 4th base as well. Like we were sinking our teeth in. We were still getting involved. So hopefully we can get back into it. Hopefully Dominoko is able to come back to us. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. As do we have any other updates going on? So far, it looks like the rest of the first round is wrapping up. We have Adez advancing on a face-off against Kamikaze in the TVT. So there's a TVT going on in the 3rd round. Likewise, we have Mandaguinha. Likewise, waiting for the winner of his opponent. Waiting for either Inexorable or Espartano in the next round. Eric is now going up against Tuca. Tuca just took down Firebat 2-1. And Eric might just begin his series. Okay. Technically, I could hop series. Eric versus Tuka is about to begin, and I could jump into that and then follow that into round 3 and then the semis. But I mean, I started with Shakti and Dominok when I want to follow them. Okay, he's back. He's back online. Is back online. And we'll see if we can recover. Okay. I have confirmation as well. It wasn't the internet that had cut out. It was his electricity. Electricity did go out. But now we should be able to jump back in, and our goal, or I'm setting it to go back in a couple of seconds before the lag out. Hopefully that works well. For those that are curious, you can kind of rehost a lobby with a replay and recover it. So we're going to be able to jump back in. We have the technology. We should be able to get without any more issues. Hopefully the power doesn't go out again, but if it does, I mean, we can always resume again. Whether it happens in this game, the next one, or the next series. It's all good. More than happy to. I'm very sympathetic when it comes to issues like that, or tech issues like that. Here we go. We are jumping back in. Whew. Do dive back in. We do have our initial clash here with the Hydra Stalker. Hydras, they blink back forward. They're going for the Queens. Sorry, they're going for the Hydras. Hydra exposed for the Lings. Oh, that's a bit of a bug.
Game paused.
As it looks like there is a bit of lag going on. But, why are we on the Australian server? My bad. Can you recover? All good, all good. So it looks like because I recovered the game, it just like put us onto Australia automatically. God damn it. That's my bad. That's my bad. So we'll have one of the players recover the game, and that should put us on Brazil. All good. But yeah, I guess that's a fun fact. When you recover the game, you actually don't have an option to set server. So I should bear that in mind for future instances like that. Yeah. Should bear that in mind. But yeah, we're jumping back in. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but the Hydras that were already a part of the game were one skin, and the Hydras that were being spawned in were a different skin. That was an interesting bug, I guess. Or just limitation. Two different Hydras of the same army. Okay, we're gonna see that Hydra clash for the third time. Here we go. We are back. Get the Stalkers. They will back off. And, oh, this time. Okay. They're all... No. Yeah, we're going to get a mix again. I'm looking forward to it. As Stalkers, they will back off. We just see back at home, Shakti going to be reinforcing and transitioning out of this. Working towards Charge, working towards Storm and Templar Archives. And there it is. You have the mix of Hydras. Let's go. The biological and the mechanical. I wonder if the players can see that. Stalkers are going to be forced back. Dominocus does defend. Ooh, and we can calm things down for a moment. And we apologize for the disruptions to the game, but we can continue. Can continue. Dominocus still establishing his fourth base. What I will say though is that the worker count is still looking quite low here for our Zerg player. There we go, 9 drones on the way. Hydra Den Lurker Den being thrown down as well. Getting into Hydra Lurker. No hive yet, no infestation pit, I believe. No, there is an infestation pit, but no hive. But yeah, you can see the buildings. We have a regular gas geyser and a synthetic one. Let's go. So Noki does get eyes on that expansion. I mean, that's kind of cool because it shows us, you know, the older Hydras. We'll see how many of them survive and how many of them get replaced. True. Zelda is attempted. Unfortunately, Shakti just using default skin all around, so nothing too special here. But Storm is now finishing up, and what's terrifying is that Shakti is about to hit his Storm timing before the Lurkers are ready. 6 Lurkers are on the way, and we need them desperately. Lurkers are morphing in. Shakti rotating around. Pushing in between the bases. Again, Storm is ready. And I'm not so sure that 6 Lurkers are going to be enough. It's going to be close. So far, so good. Shakti getting ready for a run by. Throwing down 2 more robos. That should be for more immortal production. Soon to be potentially Disruptor as well. There's no bait yet. Just immortals. Shakti trying to brute force his way through. And the hive has now completed. We only have 5 Hydras left of the original. Oh no! We're down to 3! 3 original Hydras remaining. And the others will morph into Lurkers. Hydras. Oh my god, massive storms! Storms do connect. Lurker shots going up. Oh my god. Alas, no detection with the main army. Baleen Waterby coming in. At the same time, Zella warping into the main. Dragging Dominoko apart. He's trying to keep up. So far, he does maneuver his Lurkers. But the Zealots are trading well. You want Baleens, they do crash in. Up! Oof. Look at a handful of workers. 4 probes going down. Another massive warping into the main. And Dominoko just can't keep up. Bleeding out so many Hydras here to defend. As they'll say, trade well. At the same time, no detection! Oh my god! Calm down! No detection, so the Stalkers, they take a lot of hits. The High Templar did survive. Likewise, Lurker Den barely surviving as well. It's on fire, but will live. As finally Shakti rocks up with an Observer. Gets a Revelation off as well. He has detection, but alas, Dominoko has survived. Did cost him 17 drones. Lost a lot of workers here in the main. Did take a big blow to his economy. And what's terrifying is that Shakti may have lost a little Stalkers pushing into Lurkers, but the Immortals and the High Templar, they survived. And now we have an extra wave of Immortals, more Archons. The high-tech units did make it through, and again, without a higher lurker count, they can just break in. It's Revelation. Storm's coming in as well. I just take. Oh my god, the storms to the face! They take them to the face. Now we have no more hydras left. The original hydras are all gone. Oh my god! And once again, the storms are brutal. And lurkers repositioning. And lastly, immortals are breaking through. There's just no support for the lurkers. They need more hydras, more lings, more banelings, more anything else. On their own, they're so exposed, so vulnerable. And the lurker count is getting reset. Lurks are cleaned up. GG gets called, and Shakti will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Shakti will take the first game. Again, honestly, the Zealot Warpins, Zealot counterattacks were doing so much when it came to at least just keeping the Hydra count low, making sure there was just barely any support. There were never any Banelings to, help maintain the main army either. We had a Baneling run by earlier, that is true, but never really any Link Bane to help support and help buffer for the lurkers. To threaten the High Templar. Alas, in the end, Shakti did snowball out of control, and with that, Shakti takes game 1. Takes the first game. Now we're getting ready for game numero 2. Game number 2. Meanwhile, looks like most of round 2 has completed as well. Again, the bracket is progressing. We'll be focusing on this series, and then we might be able to catch Eric in the upper half of the bracket later on as well. Hopefully we can catch him later on. Likewise, I believe Cosmos is covering Inexorable versus Matagina. Matagina even. I believe he's covering that. We are going to be jumping in. As game 2 is going to be on site Delta. And this time it should be smooth sailings. Should be. Fingers crossed. That the power doesn't go out again. Fingers crossed. For any PT translations, I'm here. Oh, let's go. I mean, we can maintain ourselves. It's okay. It's okay. It's close enough to Espanol. Close enough. We get it for the most part. And here we go. We are getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta. We have our Brazilian Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Eximius Gaming. It is Shakti. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. The red Zerg, also representing Eximius Gaming. It is Dominoco. Okay, let's see. Immortal. Oh no. Okay, that I'm gonna need a translation for. Let us know. Let us know. As for now, we are going to be settling in. It is going to be, I believe, 15. Yeah, it's going to be 15 hatch here from our Zerg player. Going for his initial opener. Likewise, Shakti will confirm. Hatch gas pool. Again, there was a bit of an earlier hatchery to make sure it gets placed before the probe did arrive, but outside of that, standard opener from our Zerg player. Standard opener. Well, he's from Brazil, papi. Ah, obrigado. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. As likewise, Shakti going for a gate expand. into Cybercore. So nothing too wild here in the early game, which again, I don't really expect anything too crazy between these two players, at least early on. We saw last game that our Zerg player here tried to rush into Ling Hydra and almost was able to get there. I mean, got into Hydras, working towards Lurkers, but was caught out in the end. And once again, we do have a Stargate opener from Shakti. So Stargate into Oracle, pretty similar to the previous game. No kind of crazy Twilight Council, DTs, David Epps, nothing too crazy. As Zonoko, he's going to back up. He's going to be respecting the Adepts. Adept will be able to catch a Tumor, though. Nice pick up. Tumor goes down. Shakti pulling away. And looks like it's going to be on Shakti to just harass, to try to dip in between the bases. Double Adept opener. Initially with Oracles as well. And we'll see if Dominoko can keep up. Oh my, speaking of keeping up, that is Overlord speed. Okay, you have my attention. Overlord speed is usually not researched without good reason, without something like a German taxi planned. So show us what you got. There is going to be the lair on the way. That should be for Dropper Lords. Lings are amassing, so are Queens. Dominoko cutting workers earlier on. Still droning though, so I'm getting mixed signals. But again, this should be for aggression. And I imagine a Ling Queen all-in of some kind. I mean, could be Dropper Lords and Nidus. No extra gases, no Dropper Lord. I'm sorry, no Roach Warren is what I meant to say. Show us what you got. I mean, we don't even have that many Queens. We have 3, soon to be 4. Oracle dips in. We'll get 5 drone kills. Oh god. 5 worker kills here at the natural. Lair is done. There it is. Here come the Dropper Lords. Let's go. But we're still dry. There we go. We still made an extra wave of workers. I think that was just to recover what we just lost. And it is going to be a Ling Queen, a Dropper Lord all in. It's all or nothing here for Dominoko. Queens are loaded in. And we're sending everything across the map. And we'll see what we can get done. Breaking the third base is not going to be good enough. Gonna have to break the natural. For now, though, gonna try and force a fight. There's a shield battery, there's an overcharge. Oracle does spot at least the Lings. And the Dropper Lord as well. And Shakti does know. Shakti's ready for this. Likewise, Lings say, the wall's open! No! The wall's wide open! Lings, they flood into the natural, they flood into the main. Queens get chopped over. And they will be able to keep up with those Stalkers. No shield battery, not yet. Stalkers getting caught out, massive pickoff. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this, Papi. Lings wreaking havoc in the main. GG gets called. And just like that, Dominoko ties up the series. We're going to the ace match. Let's go. Oh my god. And again, Shakti, he saw it coming. He saw it coming at a time. He saw the Lings. He saw the Dropper Lord. He was getting ready at the third, but not at the natural. The door was wide open. Shakti doing his best hero impression. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Immortal is broken, right? Yeah. There you go. Ah. Thank you for the translation. Thank you, thank you. But GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Let's go. Let us go. But yeah, Shakti fumbling the ball a little bit in the defense. And suddenly that does leave things wide open here. Suddenly, can we cause the upset, and can Dominoko bring Shakti down and knock him out? Can he do it? Let's go. we go. As we have our players ready, we're going to be loading into Alkione. Okay, gotta wake up. Oh my god. We're jumping into the ace match here. It all ends here. It all ends on Alkione. And we'll see if we go for another crazy all-in. I mean, it could work again. Not gonna lie. Could happen. And here we go. We're getting into game 3 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. We have our Brazilian Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Eximius Gaming. It is Shakti. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing Eximius Gaming as well. It is Dominoko. Let's go. Once again, going for the 15 hatch. So 15 hatchery here should be hatch gas pool, I imagine, once again. Oh. Never mind. Dominoko going for a proxy instead, going for a hatch block, I imagine. Okay, you have my attention. Drone is being sent out. Across the map towards the natural. And we'll see how Shakti responds to this. Now, Shakti, he's born and raised in the flames of Eric, so I'm sure he's used to this sort of thing. As the drone is just building up. Massing up more minerals. Gas pool opener. And the 300 minerals are ready. Hatchery is going to be thrown down as a part of the wall. Hatchery is placed. And we'll see how Shakti responds. Does respond with a Forge. Forge is on the way. Zealot's on the way as well. Forge is for cannons. In this kind of game state, because you have so little to work with, so little production, cannons are the Protoss' best friend here. Cannons, shield batteries, individual gateway units. We'll see if Dominoko can pull this off. The slings are moving out. And I'm curious if Dominoko is even going to commit. No, yeah, he's expanding. Does expand back at home. Moving out initially with 4 lings. Only 4, and yeah, he's droning. Dominoko is droning up. Dominoko, he might even just cancel this expansion. Might just cancel the hatchery as he does delay the Nexus. Cannons on the way. Zealot swiping at the base itself. Stalker's gonna pop out. And there's a cancel. So Dominoko, he's double expanding back at home, droning up as we speak. Link speed is gonna be kicking in a little bit earlier as well. Bear that in mind. And the game will progress. Game will continue. Dominoko is just establishing his natural base, still just droning. Link speed is almost done. And Shakti can't really do much here. I mean, Warp Gate is still finishing up. We have Stargate on the way in the main. Everything was delayed, the tech, the expansion in favor of this defense. So Dominoko's going to be looking quite comfortable back at home. He is going to be able to freely drone up. You could definitely argue that maybe the Spore was a little bit early. But it's building up his queens. Likewise, Dominoko is not fully aware if it is even a Stargate opener. Could be a Twilight Council. Ooh, and that is an early Roach Warren. Very early. Especially considering the game state and how chaotic the start was. That was sub 4 minutes. So it looks like either we're being hyper safe or Dominoko plans on being more aggressive. Oracle moves out across the map. Dominoko rallying at his lings. Oracle is revealed. Oh. Will end up forcing a cancellation on the Spore. Oh, that's a kill though. It's a kill, not a cancel. Spore goes down. Big pickoff. Sport the third. Oh! Gets one drone in the main. Nice sport trick from Dominoko. Does save his worker. Roaches are amassing. Again, that's a lot of roaches this early on. So it looks like Dominoko is going for a move out. He's going for a push. But back at home, Shakti has stalkers already. Yeah, Dominoki was hoping that maybe there'd be a lack of ground units at least. Roach is going to be forced to engage in the center of the map. This is not really what he wanted. Yeah, one Roach goes down. Oracle's going to be able to support, and I do feel like Shakti can take this fight. Yeah, he can, and he will. Gets 2, 3, 4. Every single Roach is going to fall. These are expensive losses for the Zerg. Again, this is not the fight that he wanted. He was hoping there would be a handful of Adepts and saturation. Instead, soon to be Blink Stalkers. With that, Dominoko's in trouble. He's rallying out Lings. Behind this, gonna attempt to drone. Again, he has catching up to do. Yeah, Shakti did play it safe. So now the Protoss has an economic advantage. +1 is on the way. Blink is on the way. Third base getting saturated. Dominoko, he still has to tech. Lair just began. Droning. And the game will settle down. Again, the early Roach Warren was a bit of a gamble from Dominoko, and it didn't quite pay off. As he's going to threaten a run by. Stalkers are moving out. There's not much to defend back at home. There's only Queens. Not like this. Yeah, no Lings to defend. Lings are moving across the map, but there's side defense. Shakti does push in, catches a reinforcing Roach, gets an Overlord, and can go for the Queens as well. I think that was the last transfuse. Shakti just waiting for Blink. It's done in 10 seconds. Dominoko up against the wall. Both players are supply blocked. Ravagers morphing in. Shakti is going to be able to target fire those Ravagers. Gets one. Gets one so far. Rotating towards the left. Catching another Overlord. And tempted by the Ravagers. Oh, the Biles will connect. Dominoko at least gets one Oracle. It's something. But it's still contained. And you can see Shakti still rallying across the map. He knows that he has the advantage. He knows that he can push forward. Speaking of, another Roach goes down. Ravager as well. The Roach count is finally building up. It's getting there. But it's still not enough. Biles take down one Stalker. Does force Shakti back. Yeah, now Shakti can focus on his fight, on his micro. Getting 15 Roaches so far. It's a lot of Roaches. I'm just morphing in. A Hydrogen on the way. But these are still expensive losses for Dominoko. Shakti, instead of pushing up a ramp, yeah, does rotate instead. I do think that Shakti can be a little bit more assertive here and be a little bit more in the face of Dominoko, trading against the Roach Ravager. Instead, he's playing it safe, getting a 4th base, taking up into Immortal Production, Temple Archives, second Robo's on the way. I mean, there's no rush here for Shakti. Getting another Ravager. Zerg player is just contained. Like, Hydras are good, and he's got an Infestation bit for, that's going to be for Hive Tech, for Lurkers as well, but he has no economy. He is double expanding. Getting his 4th and 5th at the same time. Shakti with the terrifying army. Again, waiting for charge. Charge not yet done. And yeah, he's just building up into Immortals, Archons. Storm just started. Now, if Dorminoko is given time, if he's able to at least saturate a 4th base and even hold on to a 5th, then he can max out and refine his army, but until then, he's still one step behind. Even though the supplies look similar, I mean, the supply does lie. It's one of those things where the roaches do inflate the supply, and we still are lacking upgrades. We're still lacking Hive Tech. So this is an uphill battle for the Zerg. Have a Zealot run by, getting eyes on the expansion. Shakti likewise rotating over, gets eyes on the army. And he does dive in. And again, this army gets so exposed. Massive swords on the Hydras. Oh my god, on the Hydras and the Roaches, and Dominoko's army is just gonna melt. Does start a step forward, trying to trade with these Stalkers. But, there's only so much he can do against this kind of army. I say that Shakti is gonna have to retreat. Reinforcements coming in, takes down the final Ravager. The Hydras as well. At the same time, Zeltse takes down the left-hand side. And both expansions are gonna fall. Shakti winning on both flanks. GG, well played, gets called, and Shakti will take the series at 2-1. GG. GG, well played. It was just a rough start here for Dorminoko. I mean, I should say, I liked the opener, going for the kind of fake proxy hatch and forcing an overreaction. I wasn't too fond of the Roach follow-up. If you remember, when he invested so quickly, so heavily into those early game Roaches, they did not pay for themselves at all. They were more of a detriment more than anything, and that did set Dorminoko behind. It ate into his own economy, into his own worker counts, into his 3rd base and 4th base timings, and it set everything behind. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Shakti does advance on to the semis. GG, well played. Shakti will advance on. And the question becomes, who will face off against him? So we need a moment here, because it looks like we have our own next series as well. Exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at it yourselves. Also, a shout out to Dorminoko for making a series out of it, for being able to cause an upset and even bringing Shakti to the ace match. Very impressive. Was very impressive. And with that, did force the ace match. And now we're going to be jumping into Eric versus Vitorino. We are jumping in mid-series, jumping into game number 2 to determine who faces off against Shakti in those semis. We're jumping in. We are jumping in. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Goldenora, we have our Brazilian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings, as he is one of our own. It is Eric. Leading the series 1-0, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have we have the other Brazilian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Eximius Gaming. It is Vitorino. Let's go. There we go. Okay, my apologies. I thought this was going to be a ZVT. It is a ZVZ instead. 12 pool. Eric, he's going for the 12 pool. We did miss out on game 1. We're jumping in mid-series. Don't really know what happened in the first game. We can see Eric being hyper-aggressive here in game number 2. Again, Eric, he's known for his aggression. He's known for making up his own builds. He's known for being quite innovative and dictating the pace of the meta as well in a way. Eric was the first to introduce 15 hatches in a multitude of matchups in ZVZ and ZVP as well. Did begin that craze a couple of years ago as an answer to the hatch block. Referring to Protoss players blocking the natural, is what I mean. Here we go. Eric is going for that hatchery on the low ground. Lings are on the way. Again, it's just a 12 pool. This is not an all-in. It is aggressive, don't get me wrong. It is an aggressive start, but he's going to be following it up with the expansion. Lings are moving out across the map. Back at home, Vitorino did go hatch gas. Oh, my apologies. Went for a late hatchery. Went for an earlier gas geyser. So gas pull into delayed hatchery. Because of this, our blue Zerg player here is going to have the potential to counterattack with Lings and with Banelings. He will have that gas advantage. Lings are on the way. This 12 pull from Eric should not be as successful. Shouldn't be. Yeah, Lings, they've already arrived. Eric trying to poke in. But Vitorino, he is here. Will engage a fight, but he does have the Ling disadvantage. And not the best engagement here from the blue Zerg. Ideally wants to wait for the Queen. Queen now pops out, but the Link count is far lower. Alas, it is going to be enough to save the expansion. I say that the Queen is going to get surrounded. No! Yeah, big overextension. The Queen gets surrounded. Ling's going to be going down as well. And again, we did fight a little bit too early on earlier. We did fight just too prematurely. And with that, Eric, he will overwhelm. Eric will kill the natural, and this is far too much damage. This should not have happened. Not with the blue Zerg's opener. Baneling Nest on the way. At this point, it's going to be an all-in. At this point, it has to be a Ling Bane all-in. Eric dipping in for a full scout. Gets one drone and gets eyes on the Baneling Nest. Now, all Eric has to do back at home is wall up. Just wall up here at the natural base. There we go. Roach Warren's on the way. Evo Chamber. Queens as well. The only option for Vitorino is the Bane Bust, and Eric knows that. And that is a full wall. Full wall of Roach Warren, Evo Chambers, Queens as well. Eric is ready. And Eric from here can just drone. I would prefer a Spine Crawler just for some added DPS, but instead Eric is relying on extra Queens. Getting a third and fourth Queen. It's only 3 Banelings, that's not going to be enough. Yeah, they get eyes on the full wall. Not like this. And now the blue Zerg has to make a tough choice. Drone. Yeah, it's a tough call to make, but there's no way to break this location anymore. So now he has to drone, and now Vitorino is behind in the economy. Natural base still about to finish up. Just now droning. And Eric is looking quite comfortable. Again, a lot of this just came down to Vitorino just being a little bit too trigger happy early on, engaging without his Queen. So he lost too many Lings early on, and that led into him losing his natural. Vitorino rushing into a fast lair. Now this could lead into a couple of different things. This could be just a 2-base all-in. Like a Queen Roach Nidus all-in or something. This could be 2-base Muta. Drop a Lord's on the way. Okay. Okay. You have my attention. I mean, that does make sense. If Eric is too greedy, if he drones up too hard, if he doesn't get any roaches anytime soon, then potentially Vitorino can drop into the main and try to deal some critical economic damage. It's possible. Oh, my apologies. It is possible. Also, a shout out to Mixu. Gah, papi. Big shout out to Mixu. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. I'll be honest, I haven't seen you stream too often, so I'm a little bit sad that I missed out on it. But a big shout out to Mixu. Gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much. Torilla, papi, torilla. Hope you had a great time. Hope you had a great ladder session. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to Code for Giants Cup number 11. Welcome to a Brazilian-only tournament. As Drop Lord does dive into the main. Oh, going for the mineral line. Bailey's, they're coming in. Up. And they will be dropped. And alas, how many workers do we get? 2 drones going down for 4 Bailings. Not ideal. There was potential, but alas, the Drop Lord is denied. And Eric can go back to mining. Roaches are amassing as well. Ah. Thank you for the raid, man. There's a spider in my house. I've named it Shakti. Oh no. Not like this. Ah. The spider is gonna storm you in your sleep. It's the iron ring. And it is in fact gonna be 2-base muta. Okay, Spire is on the way. Spine Cooler is being thrown down, extra gas is being taken. And there is potential with the mutas. True, Spire is halfway done, but here comes Eric. Here comes the 2-base all in. Roaches have been amassing, plus on range is done, Roach speed is done, and Eric is sending everything across the map. And Vitorino, his pants are down. He is not ready for this. He has how many spines? 3 spine crawlers. That's enough to buy time, but that's not enough to win a fight. Not against this many roaches. As Eric is going to be waddling in, knocking down that front door. Lings are going to try to engage. And again, they're buying some time, but if the roaches, they're snowballing out of control. They bust down the first spine, the second, and the third as well. Eric getting to the mineral line. Lings, they're doing what they can, but there's only so much they can do. We have 3 mutas on the way. 6 mutas even. The mutas that will eventually kill everything, but by the time they do, there's going to be nothing left. Eric, he shuts down the Spire. Behind this, can just throw down spores, make more queens, throw down a Hydra Den. Eric can do as he pleases. And he sort of steps into the main base. 27, 32 drones going down. There's almost no economy left. Vitorino, he's down to 2 workers, 2 drones remaining. And Eric, he's going to be able to knock down every single hatchery. And going for the lair. GG gets called. Well played. And Eric will take the series. GG. GG, well played, Eric. We'll take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semifinals. My condolences to Vitorino. I do like his build. I mean, his opener is something that I'm very fond of. Going gas first, it was gas pull into hatchery, fast link speed into a Bane bust. There was potential, and he did have the tools to defend against a 12 pool, but as we saw, he did fight too early on. He didn't wait for reinforcements, didn't wait for his queen. He bled out too many lings, and that led into Eric overwhelming and killing the natural. And that was kind of game then and there. Like, that was just far too much damage to sustain. We saw that at least Vitorino had a follow-up plan. His plan was to go into 2-base muta and also to go for some drop alert harass as well, but we saw that Eric was able to react in time, did respond, did defend against drop alerts, and GG. GG, well played. With that, we are getting ready for our semis. Let's go. Let us go. We were covering Shakti's matches earlier, and now we can continue to cover them. As up next is going to be Eric versus Shakti in the upper semis. Likewise, the lower semis are also underway. It's going to be a TVT between Inexorable and Kamikaze. So we have a Terran confirmed for the grand finals. Likewise, we also have a Protoss or a Zerg, as we're going to be covering the upper semis, and I believe Cosmos is covering the lower semis. I believe that is the plan. Just letting the players know, and then we can jump in. Semi-finals. But yeah, shout out to Cosmos, of course. Cosmos, he is running the event. He's hosting it over on his own channel in Portuguese, or in Brazilian. Is running the event. And he's got us covered with those other matches. Can I think it's okay. It's okay. So we're kind of nearing the end of the broadcast already, covering the semis at the same time, leading into the grand finals. So 2 matches left, 2 series remaining. Here we go. Just catching up in the chat. I'll be sure to have lots of umbrellas for the storms. Ah, take care, Pat. Take care. But Viters are underway. And once they're done, we can jump in. When it comes to the lower semis, honestly, that could go either way. I do think that Kamikaze and Inexorable are quite close in skill, and we have seen them go back and forth. In general, I do favor Inexorable, but Kamikaze, specifically in TVT, can hold his own. So, that could go either way. When it comes to Eric and Shakti, I do favor Eric, but Shakti definitely has it in him. I mean, he has been competing against Eric for a long time, and even though Eric is favored, Shakti has been able to pull a fast one over on Eric in the past. They were last edition's finalists, for those who were unaware. They were finalists. And it looks like the vetoes have concluded. Game 1 is going to be on Oceanborn, Game 2 on Golden Aura, and Game 3 is going to be on Site Delta. Beautiful. Beautiful. And again, hope everyone that is tuning in is doing well. Hope you're all doing well. We just wrapped up our kind of weekend long marathon of casting, going over the Ursasaurus Cup, going over everything else. The Warty TV Monday Cup, Tenacious Turtle Tussle, Sparkling Tuna Cup. Like, it was intense. It was intense. And we're going to be winding down today. Today it's just going to be the Code for Giants Cup broadcast. We don't have another cast later on. Which means, as we stretch and we posture check, which means we could host a ladder session after this as well. I'm definitely up for it. I am a little bit sleep deprived. I'm a little bit tired, but we can go for it. It's possible. As our players did ask for a moment. Just make the finals best of 9. Oh, Mass Papi. You're an animal. No. Not like this. Alright, it's up to Cosmos. Up to Cosmos. Okay, we're good. Our players do just need a moment, and now we are jumping into... We're jumping into our semifinals. We're here to determine our first finalist. If you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open once we get into the game. Keep your eye on the chats. Predictions will be opening up, so you can place your bets on who you think will take the series. I do favor Eric here in this best of, but it's a best of 3, so this could very quickly go either way. Shakti definitely has a chance here. Shakti is the strongest Protoss player currently in Latin America. So if there ever were a Protoss to stand up to Eric here in Code for Giants Cup, it would be Shakti. And Master as well. The two of them. But here we go, we're jumping in and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Eximius Gaming. It is CranKy. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own. It is Eric. Quack. Ah, look at that. It's beautiful. And Eric is going for a pool first. I believe that was a 14 pool timing here. Interesting. Let's go. Speaking of, is going to be sending out his drone across the map. So he's going for the initial hatchery to block off, to delay, to force a reaction. As we saw Dorminoko previously, this doesn't mean this has to be an all-in. Eric can expand behind this, but is going for the pool into a gas geyser. And the drone is getting ready to throw down the hatchery. Just building up, waiting for that 300 minerals. And the hatchery has been placed. Now the goal here is to force a delay on the expansion. CranKy most likely will respond with a cyber core, with a forge, the shield battery, extra units. CranKy has to respect this, has to respond. Lings are on the way. 4 lings in production. More lings behind this. No forge. CranKy, he's underreacting. Uh-oh. Bold move. CranKy, he will delay the expansion. He's calling Eric's bluff. And Eric, yeah, he's not really committing too hard here. He's droning. So, you know what? Very smooth reaction out of CranKy. He doesn't throw down the forge. He doesn't completely wall off. Instead, he throws down the expansion in the face of the proxy hatch. No fear. No fear from CranKy. Should he be afraid, though? Eric did make a couple of workers, but now we have more lings on the way. More lings are in production. Eric pulling back the weakened lings. Trying to soften up that gateway. Hatchery does complete. Queen is on the way. And Eric, he rallies drones across the map. Again, CranKy, he was greedy in his response here, and is he going to be punished? Spine crawlers are on the way. More lings flooding out. Eric, he's going to try and break this. He's going for it. I mean, it makes sense just because of, you know, how little we had. But that's going to be 3 shield batteries in production. That's a lot of shield batteries, and soon to be an overcharge as well. Eric is going to try to break through. Queen does pop out. Lings as well, going for the surround. They catch the Zealot. The Zealot does fall. Boys are being pulled. And again, there are so many shield batteries. And we're trying to make use of the spine crawlers. They're barely not within range. They're going for the gateway. Queen gets surrounded. The Queen is going to go down. But the gateway falls. That's all the production. That was the only gateway. Uh-oh. No more gates. There we go. Gateway just now being thrown down. CranKy has no production. Spine crawlers are wreaking havoc. More lings are on the way. Overcharge does run out. And Eric, how does he approach this? For now, he's going for the cyber core. Warp gate is not done. Eric gets us around. Doesn't quite get the adept. You see Eric trying to bait out the army. Warp gate is going to finish. Oh, the surround comes in. The broodlings. The broodlings and the lings. They all come together. But again, the shield batteries, they put in a lot of work. Shield batteries running out of energy. Stalker goes down. Adept as well. Cybercore is denied. Gateways, they're still not done. GG gets called, and Eric takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. There was so many mind games at play here. Again, winding it back, we have seen CranKy successfully defend against this. He did it against Dorminoko earlier. Remember, he did it against Sleepy, the previous Zerg player in the quarterfinals. But CranKy had a stronger response against the previous player with a forge and with cannons. This time, as we saw, as I was trying to point out, CranKy, he was kind of calling Eric's bluff, and he was going for a very greedy response, assuming that Eric wasn't going to commit. He was assuming that Eric was expanding back at home and droning. And Eric did make some workers, but he made like 2 or 3 drones. And then when Eric realized, hold up, you're expanding? You're not respecting this? I'm going to commit. And it was still close. It was still very close. The hatchery went down. The spine crawlers are barely within range. It was still a very close all-in, but alas, Eric did pull it off. GG, well played. There was no backup tech. There was no backup gateways. Once the first gateway went down, I mean, that was kind of game then and there. And GG, Eric does take a lead. Now we're getting ready for game number 2. Let's go. I forgot the predictions. God damn it. I was so engrossed in the game. I forgot the predictions, Pappy. I mean, they're closed by now. But there is a 2-minute delay on stream, which is why the predictions are also delayed whenever I talk about them. So I do apologize for the late predictions, but here we go. We're jumping into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura. We have the Brazilian Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Ximius Gaming. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Shakti. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. Going for a 15 hatch this time, it is Eric. Okay, this time, no 12 pool, no 14 pool. It is going to be a 15 pool. So, I was expecting a 15 hatch, but no, that is a 15 pool into... Are we going for the gold? Are we going for the gold, or are we going for another... Okay, we're going for another hatch block. Okay. So, it's going to be a later spawning pool into a gas, into, once again, a hatchery across the map. Because the spawning pool is later, I'm assuming that it's not going to be as aggressive this time, but we'll see. We'll see how this all comes together. As Eric does rock up, and he's going for, this time, yep, the hatch block. So, this time, this hatchery should not finish. This is just designed to delay. We have 4 lings in production. We'll see how Eric brings it all together here. We shall see. Boys are being pulled. Eric is droning up. And Eric should be expanding. He should be expanding. He should be droning. This should just be a delayed economic opener for Eric. Or his goal here is just to delay the economy. Shouldn't be to kill. As there's the natural. I mean, last game Eric also took a natural base. There's a cancel. Ling speed is on the way. Eric pulls out a gas. Bear that in mind. So that means he's not rushing into roaches and he's not rushing into banelings. So he pulls out a gas and he's droning. Eric is droning up. Going for an attempted gas steal, but that is why Shakti has the probe on hold position to make sure the gas is not taken. And Eric is double expanding. Double expanding back at home. And settling in. From here we can calm things down. Depth will threaten his shade and does commit actually. We do have a bit of a citizen's arrest. The drones are going to be pulled. 2 drones go down so far. Worth it here for Shakti. 2 drones for 1 adept. Likewise, I mean, especially because it isn't just 2 drones. Bearing in mind, Eric is down in workers because of, I mean, the opener. So every drone kill matters that much more this early on. The game will calm down. Another worker falling. Oh, and we can take a moment to breathe and progress. Shakti, interesting. So again, because the opener was so chaotic, and because Shakti's natural was delayed, you can see that Shakti actually hasn't thrown down any tech. No Stargate, no Robo, no Twilight Council. Shakti is going for a 3rd expansion before tech. This is actually quite greedy. But the reason why Shakti is cutting corners is because of the delayed natural. So to try to catch up and try to maintain himself, Shakti is being very greedy. Eric throws down a very early Roach Warren. This is a, what, 4 minutes... It was around 4 minute 18 Roach Warren timing. Gas is being taken. Lair is on the way. This should lead into a Roach push from the side of Eric. And I worry here because, again, Shakti's tech is delayed and he's going to have that much less to defend. Behind this, Shakti going for a Twilight Council. Could go into Charge, Blink, or Glaives. They're all viable options here for Shakti. So it does move out. At the same time, Lings move in. Trying to get a read on what's going on. Getting eyes on transferring workers. Lings are amassing. Eric cutting workers at 42. 42 drones. 2 gases. And this should be Ling Ravager, I'm assuming. As Eric is... Okay, never mind. Eric is droning. Eric is droning up. He wants the Stalkers. There's no blink. There is no blink. He does catch 1 Stalker. 1 Stalker goes down. Zelda Adept as well. And Eric, he wants more. He wants more Stalkers. Up, up. Can he get them? He can't. Oh, he gets us around. Not like this. And as a result, he will catch 1 more Stalker. Barely, not a second though. Whew. As Shakti, he breaks out, gets within range of the shield battery. Shakti does survive. And behind this, Eric, he droned up to 50. Getting a 4th expansion for Larva. And he's flooding more Lings. Flooding more Lings. Again, Blink is still not done. Now, if Eric dives, there is an overcharge. So Shakti should be okay. Defensively, he should be fine. The Overlord does have eyes on this. Eric is getting ready. Eric actually supply blocked. Ooh, Shakti being a little bit cavalier. He moves out. As he moves out, Eric moves in. He wants the shield batteries. He wants them, and he's going to get them. You have an overcharge, try and keep him alive. We do force a recall. And Eric gets both shield batteries. That is going to mean this third base is going to be a lot more vulnerable to a committed push. Speaking of committed, Eric is still making Lings. Now, Eric did invest into Roach speed, but still no Roaches. Just purely Ling from Eric. And again, they work quite well against Ling Stalkers. Just Ling. And speaking of Blink Stalkers, they're getting caught out. Blink is done, but Eric, he does force out the Blink. Gets no Adept. Can he keep chasing? No backup shield batteries at the 3rd. Likewise, no shield batteries at the 4th. I mean, nice positioning from Shakti. He holds his own. Yeah, Eric, he cannot engage. Not into that army. Eric has to pull away. And now he's embracing Ling Ravager. I mean, I say that, there's no gas for Ravagers, but you know what I mean. Eric, he's getting there. Oh, the Roach is being punished. Lings, they do hit the 3rd. Shield battery still not rebuilt. Probes are going down. That does force Shakti back home. Oh, another shield battery gets denied. Oh, good. 7 probe kills. At the same time, Eric's still amassing up Ling Roach. Still no Ravagers, though. Just purely Ling Roach. Again, he's got the 4th just for Larva. Getting a 5th expansion just for Larva as well. As much Larva as he can get. And Eric is on a pretty low drone count. Like, he's pretty committed here. He will get in. Not quite, though. The shield battery and the cannon do buy time. Eric pushing it from the other end. Trying to pull Shakti apart. Eric's still on a very low... Still on 54 workers. Can he make this work? Oh, he wants the Archon. Oh, gets it. Archon goes down. Stalkers as well. With a heavy immortal count, though, Shakti will defend. Eric is being forced back. Eric breaking through into the 3rd. This time the shield battery should go down. Yeah, the cannon, the shield battery, nice hold position micro. Army's out of position, and can Eric take down the expansion? Looks like he can. He can, and he will. The third base goes down. At the same time, Eric distracting at the fourth, pulling Shakti apart. And eventually, this might just force an all-in. Shakti's replacing the expansion, lost 11 probes. Shakti is still yet to move out. That's another Zealot. Eric getting into Viper production. Okay, I mean, it's an interesting take here. How Eric has been avoiding Ravagers. He made a surge of Roaches earlier. And just been going Roach Ling, taking up into Hive, taking up into Vipers. I mean, he has excess gas. And, I mean, it is working out. Vipers are a way to deal with the Immortals. As the Immortal count is getting higher. Eric maintains map control. Eric is maxed. But Eric does have to wait for those Vipers. They're gathering energy as we speak. Shakti, if the game goes on any longer, then Shakti can recover and overwhelm. Like, time is on Shakti's side. And how many Vipers? 2. It's going to be 2 Vipers. Letting Roach hits the right-hand side. Eric shaving off the little things. Does catch an Archon. Gets 1, gets 2. 2 Archons go down. Eric pulling back. Vipers pushing in. And again, Eric needs to snipe those Immortals. He's going for it. Gets all 3. Yeah, 3 Immortals go down. Massive pickups. Ooh, Prism a little bit too late to respond. And there's 1 abduction left. Eric's trying to snowball in. I don't think Eric quite has enough, though. May have on the other side. Oh, getting an Archon. Not a bad pickup. That was the final abduction. Eric has to pull away. At the same time, Eric, yeah, he does break through on the right-hand side. He pulls Shakti apart, takes down 2 more Immortals. GG, well played. And Eric takes the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. A very chaotic series. GG, well played. Eric, I don't think he ever drone up more than 3 base saturation there. That was what? I think 66 drones at most? At most. He was on 54 for so long. And he capped out at 66. It was crazy. Eric was very committed, very all in. If Eric had traded any worse, if he had lost the Vipers, if he didn't get the abductions off, then Shakti would have held. But in the end, Eric did barely pull it off. GG, well played. With that, Eric advances on to the grand finals, where Eric is waiting for the winner of Inexorable and Kamikaze. GG, well played. Eric is lying in wait, and we'll see who comes out on top here. It looks like Kamikaze's up 1-0. Oh. Kamikaze does have a lead against Inexorable. And that means that it could be Kamikaze in the finals, or we could have an ace match. An ace match between Inexorable and Kamikaze. So I may as well get ready for that scenario. I'm getting ready for that. There we go. Otherwise, GG, well played. Eric did take it in the end. Again, game 1 was chaotic as well, where Shakti didn't quite respect the aggression of Eric, and Eric, he just committed, went all in anyway, and I mean, yeah, that's just how Eric plays out at most of these matches. He can play late game, he can play macro, don't get me wrong, but he enjoys the chaos that comes with, you know, staying on a lower drone count. He's an animal. He is an animal. He's a duck. Till then, though, GG, well played. We're going to be taking this moment to go on a short break. It should be a short break. Right now, Kamikaze and Inexorable, they're in Game 2. As I mentioned before, we're either going to be jumping in mid-series or we're going to be jumping into the Grand Finals. One or the other. Otherwise, hope you've been enjoying yourselves, and take this moment to get some snacks, get some water, drain your disruptors, tuck in your Tempest, cuddle your Colossus, massage your Marines, marinate your Marauders, do whatever you please to your units. Oh no. And we'll see you guys soon for some more StarCraft, for some more Code for Giants Cup. See you in a couple of minutes. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We have returned with the lower semifinals of the Code for Giants Cup. We just wrapped up with the upper semis. We have Eric waiting in the grand finals, but the question becomes who will face off against him. We're here to find out. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Inexorable. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the other Brazilian Terran, the Red Terran player, representing Eximius Gaming. It is CranKy. And if you're in the chat, predictions should now be open. You can place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Best of luck with your predictions. As a reminder, we're jumping into the ace match. We're jumping into game number 3. We missed out on game 1 and game 2, but it's been very back and forth so far. And I mentioned before that Inexorable and CranKy, they do go back and forth. This could go either way. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. Until then, we are calming things down. It's going to be double gas open out of CranKy, likewise double gas out of Inexorable, going for racks into factory. Just safer openers overall. No one is opening up too greedily here, not yet. So we're moving out. I'm moving out to have our Brood War skinned SCVs. I'm still not fond of the Brood War CC, I'll be honest. It's still not too fond of it. The SCVs I can get behind. They're nice, they're sleek, they're a little bit smaller. I can appreciate the SCVs. The CC a little bit less so. It's fine. Meanwhile, we do have a work on worker action. He does. Oh my god. I do think actually CranKy was coming out slightly ahead there in that trade, but in the end, he's going to force back the SCV. Meanwhile, Inexorable is denied the scout in the main. Scout is denied. SCV gets forced out. And so far, both players are more or less mirroring each other. Inexorable has a little bit less information than his opponents. SCV has the right to tank some of those shots, but does tank them a little bit early. SCV goes down. Inexorable, he wants the Reaper. He wants it. Can he get it? Oh, not quite. And the Reaper will escape, will get away. CC on the high ground for CranKy. Meanwhile, Inexorable with map control gets a CC on the low ground. And Inexorable will retreat. Of course, there is the defender's advantage for CranKy. Inexorable is aware of that and will back the hell off. Does back up. The Reapers do bypass each other. Uh-oh. There's gonna be a Cyclone in a couple of seconds, but the CC is gonna be delayed. Or at least it should be. Never mind. Inexorable, he doesn't dive in. Pulls away at the same time. CranKy will manage to get some damage in across the map. Yeah, Inexorable heavily out of position. CC is delayed. And then CranKy does recover from his earlier loss. Or from his earlier delay, I should say. So even though CranKy, he has to float his expansion down to the low ground, should be able to do so and should be lined up with the completion of Inexorable's expansion. More or less. CC is floating. Inexorable's finishing up. We're settling in. Brutal CC worse for sure, especially the PFs. Yeah, the planetary skin for like the gun is just so small. like what happened? What's going on? Feels bad, man. Feels bad. As CranKy does move out, the drops do pass by each other. Up, and Inexorable does react. He's committing though. Now we are both committing. Inexorable pushing into the main, catching at the Marines. And can shut them down. CranKy a little bit later to move out. Boys are being pulled. There's one Marine behind this, a tank as well. Ooh, and one of the Cyclones is locked out. Yeah, CranKy will defend. Meanwhile, across the map, SCVs are also falling. CranKy losing 6 SCVs so far. As the drops do continue. Getting another SCV. Across the map, the juggling from CranKy. Oh, not good enough. Yeah, both Cyclones go down, and Exorbital he defends. He only loses 2 workers. And Exorbital does come out on top. Has a worker lead, and he wants a tank! Oh, he wants it, but he won't quite get it. Dropping on low ground, once again getting another worker. Cyclone finally goes down. And Inexorable has to retreat. But some very nice damage here. Looking at the units lost tab, Exorable losing 4 SCVs, but he kills 8 workers across the map. So the blue Terran comes out ahead in the economy. And the pressure is now on Kamikaze to bounce back. So hard to know if it's a PF or not. That's, but also like visually, I mean, it doesn't look too good. I agree though. I agree that because the gun on the classic planetary is so minimalistic that it can be harder to tell what it is or what it isn't. But on top of that, it just could look better. Kamikaze dropping into the main. Auto charges get thrown down. The tank. Oh no! Medevac gets started down. Oh my god, the tank does fall. Brutal losses here for Kamikaze. Not like this. Not like this, papi. And behind this, Inexorable getting a third. I mean, so is his opponent. Both players are expanding. Oh, that is a factory on the way. Let's go. That is a factory and a second starport. It is time to mech it up. You know, it's been far too long. When was the last time we casted a mech game? Yesterday. Let's do it again. To be fair, that was beyond playing mech against Protoss, so it was a little bit different. Regardless, Kamikaze is looking to mech it up. Likewise, Inexorable moving out. Embracing Bio. Stim is on the way. Extra Vaxes as well. Inexorable is pushing. He is aware he has a tank advantage, dropping into the main, going for the tank itself. Shouldn't be able to get it though. Nice disable on the medevac. And the medevac is going to be hunted down. A nice pickup. At the same time, Inexorable pushing into the natural, catches the tank, and is within range. When Kamikaze has no energy. Does have Vikings though. Zones away the Ravens. Inexorable could try to keep pushing, but yeah, he has to back off. As the air control is well in favor of Kamikaze. The double starport, double Viking production paying off. Even getting into a Liberator. So Kamikaze's still in this. Still very much in this, getting a third. Up! Tank boys going up. A lot of tank boys actually. Once again, Inexorable being bullied back. The Ravens have to be so careful. Inexorable pulls away. Kamikaze just now getting his own third. Is behind in the economy, but has, in a way, a greater army. Stronger where it counts when it comes to tanks and Vikings. It's still building up more Vikings. And can make 3 at a time. And the game is going to slow down a little bit. Now, Inexorable still has an economic lead, that is true, and that is reflected in the army size as well. But can Inexorable make use of it? He's going for a drop. Double drop on the right. Liberator harassing the main. Siege up. We'll get a couple of SCVs. Up. 3, 4, 5 SCVs going down. Very nice damage. Delayed mining time as well. And again, Kamikaze is still in this. I would love a not like this button. True. We have the emote at least. We have the emote. As the Inexorable does drop in. Going for the mineral line. SCVs are going down. Likewise, main army pushing through the center. The CC is still low from earlier. It looks like the drop is going to be cleaned up. Well, the counter disables. Ravens are disabled. They're getting low. Yeah, Kamikaze will not be broken. I mean, it does lose a lot of workers, but he does maintain the siege line. Inexorable, he cannot gain ground. Kamikaze defends. And I mean, Inexorable, he has a lot of potential with this army, especially potential to dive, but breaking this without any counter disables, without interference matrix, it's just so difficult. Even with a 40 supply lead. He can contain, of course. He's rotating, making sure there is no fourth. Speaking of, Kamikaze will expand. At least he's looking to. CC's floating over. Based on some turrets, dropping into the main. Up! Does commit, and we'll get into the middle. We'll get into the production. And the Raven's going to be shut down. Vikings, they at least catch the medevacs. It's going to be a one-way trip. But the Marines are trading well. Vikings forced to land. And finally, Inexorable is trading against the Viking counts. Getting to the mineral line. You could argue this was an expensive trade for Inexorable for only getting 4 SCVs, but I mean, he still takes out a lot of Vikings, and he got a Raven. And again, Inexorable has to make use of this army. Gets eyes on the 4th. Planetary's morphing in, but Inexorable's in position. Yeah, we'll ensure the base does not get up. Oh, he stims in! Uh-oh. Gets a tank. Okay. Gets a tank and should get a kill in the CC. And the command center won't float away. There's no escape. Does burn down. But it's okay because Kamikaze's got a backup CC. he's just got 2 more behind this. And ready to lift and land. 3-3 on the for Inexorable. It's one of those things where even though Inexorable has momentum right now, if Kamikaze can stabilize, or I should say if he can slow the game down and get his 4th up and running, they still in this. Here come the disables. We do get 4 disables off. Inexorable stimming in. Shuts down the tanks, gets a CC. And it looks like the blue Terran has done a GG. Well played, gets called. The 3rd base is broken, and Inexorable will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here, congratulations to Inexorable. He will advance on. My condolences to Kamikaze. Again, he was able to hold his own. He was able to have his own moments as well, but was unable to slow the game down the way that he wanted to. He was able to set up a siege line at the 3rd, but honestly, the drop into the main did so well for Inexorable. Again, it wasn't about necessarily killing his opponent, but it was about distracting. It was about keeping the Vikings and Ravens busy while he was setting up for another counterattack, while he was pushing towards the 3rd base, and just pulling the red Terran apart, the making Terran apart. GG, well played, congratulations. And with that, we have our finalists. We have our top 2 players of the tournament. And Eric has been patiently waiting, and now we have our grand finals. It's going to be a ZVT between Eric and Inexorable. Let's go. Let us go. It's going to be a ZVT best of 5. As a reminder, it's going to be a bit of a longer series. A longer setup. I cannot wait. Make sure we have all our players. And vetoes are underway. Just catching up with the chat. Hello, you Protoss Pappies. What about the Zergies? We love all the races here, thank you. All Pappies. All. Even the making Terrans. Even the making Terrans. It's okay, it's okay. We accept you. We accept you. Shaking my head. Does lead to entertaining games. But our players do need a moment to set things up. And again, hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. Hope you've all been having a good time. Inexorable and Eric, they do have a history between each other. Let me just quickly double check. They, I believe, have faced off in the finals of this tournament before. And I want to believe that we've had a back and forth between the two of them. Eric, I would say, is still the favorite player. I'm a little bit biased in saying that, but I do stand by it. Quickly double checking. Yes, we had Eric versus Inexorable in Code for Giants Cup number 5, which was quite some time ago. Did go the way of Eric. And I think they faced off in like semifinals in the past as well. I believe that has also occurred. Trying to double check. Not too often, actually. It looks like they mainly avoid each other in the earlier rounds. I guess it's because they are some of the higher seeds in the tournament. So if they face off, it's going to be in the finals. It's going to be. And we will get that series set up for us. Looks like we might go on a short break just before the finals, which we're more than happy to oblige. Take this moment to stretch. Of course, posture check in the chat as well. No slouching, no slouching. Make sure you're good to go. And yeah, we're going to be going on a short break. Again, we shouldn't be long for too long. When we come back, we'll have the grand finals, the best of 5. It's coming, Poppy, it's coming. Make sure you're here for it. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals of Code for Giants Cup number 11, your bi-weekly dose of Brazilian StarCraft. It's been an intense tournament so far. We've had players rise and fall. We were featuring Shaq T earlier, featuring Dormi Noko as well, and many others. But now we're down to only 2 players remaining, a Zerg and a Terran. And one of them will be this week's champion. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner even, of Alcyone, we have our Brazilian Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. He is one of our own. It is Eric. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Inexorable. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will be our champion this week. Will it be Eric or Inexorable, Zerg or Terran, Brazilian or Brazilian? Ah, crazy. Best of luck, Pappy. Best of luck with those predictions as we are settling into our own match. Again, we were able to feature Eric against Zerg against Protoss, but not against Terran yet, not tonight. And what I will say is that Eric's weakest matchup is typically against Terran. Against Zerg and Protoss, Eric is a lot more chaotic. He's a lot more creative and innovative as well. He can be, just a ball of chaos and can be quite unrelenting in those matchups. Against Terran, Eric is a little bit more standard, a little bit, still has his own wild builds. He's forced to be even more creative against Terran. So we'll see how this does turn out. But I'm still expecting at least one more normal standard game in this series from Eric. We'll see though. We shall see. As we're settling into the early game for now, just a Rax expand from Inexorable. Likewise, Eric going for a Hatch Gas Pool. Likewise, standard opener as well. So far, everything looking as it should. My apologies. Actually, this was an earlier gas from Eric, so Link Speed is already on the way. 6 Lings in production as well. Interesting. With this does mean that the third base is not going to be delayed, Eric. He gets it down just in time. That was close, though. That was very close. Third base has been placed. Again, Link Speed well underway. Eric does pull out a gas, for the most part. Link's dancing with the Reaper. And again, Link Speed is going to be finishing up a lot earlier than normal. Far earlier here. Behind this, Inexorable going for a third CC. 3 CC setup. Also, I didn't get to mention it. Okay, good morning, Yaku. Good Yaku, have you slept? do I want to know the answer to that question? Did you sleep today? Did you just wake up, or have you always been awake? Oh no. Good to see you, Yaku. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Ah no. As Lings, they do bypass the Reaper. Getting across the map. Again, Link Speed is about to kick in. Just enough for the Lings to threaten that mineral line. There's one Marine to defend. There's Hellions on the way, but there's still a couple of seconds off. Still a couple of seconds away. Looks like Hellions will pop out just in time. One SCV goes down. One Mule as well. Some okay pickoffs, but at least Inexorable will defend. It doesn't lose a Hellion. He will survive. Just the one worker and Mule. Behind this, Eric droning up. Spreading out his queens, settling in back at home. And Inexorable is interesting. So it is going to be a third CC, and I assumed it was going to be 3 CC into something like Banshee, but no. It's going to be a 3 CC 2-on-1. Second Rax is on the way, Stim as well. Instead of working towards a bio timing, towards a Stim timing. Meanwhile, Eric is taking extra gases and rushing into a lair. That is a much earlier lair than normal. That was around a 4-minute lair timing. 4 gases already. Are we feeling 2-base Muta? Now, what's interesting about Eric is, if you recall, we spoke to Eric about his builds, and 2-base Muta is something that Eric actually wasn't quite fond of, and instead he was going 2-base Swarm Host for a time against Terran. I'm curious, what's it going to be, the Spire or the Infestation Pit? I haven't seen Eric go 2-base Swarm Host in a year. It's the last time I saw it was 2023, a long time ago. Bathing Nest has been placed. It's going to be Ling Bane, and it's going to be Spire, right? It's going to be Muta. I mean, if this was any other player, that's what I would say. Okay, there we go. And it is going to be the Spire. There we go, being placed at the natural instead of the main. So Eric, he does second guess where he wants to throw it down. But okay, so 2 base meter. Gas is being taken. I'll be honest, I have to remember, but after this game, I do want to message Eric, and I do want to ask him if he's still going Swarm Host against Terran. Because he had some wild builds last year. Great. Some crazy builds. Box being knocked down. Do have our Raxes getting up and running. It looks like the beginning of an 8 Rax, actually. As we have 5 Raxes so far, but it looks like Inexorable may just go for a 3-base all-in. That is quite commonplace on Alkionis, specifically on this map, and that is where I'm concerned for Eric. So, the problem and the scary thing about rushing into muted tech like this is that it delays your upgrades. It delays your Evo Chambers, Carapace, Melee, all your upgrades are going to be far delayed in favor of mutas. And on top of that, if Inexorable is in fact going for a 3-base all-in, then mutas are the last thing that Eric's going to really want here. Scan in the main does miss the tech, does miss the Spire. Wise move for Eric to hide the Spire at the natural instead. And I'm waiting for extra Raxes. So far, only 5. But no extra gases are being taken, and that is a lot of Marines. Marines are moving out, and mutas cannot touch this army. We need Ling Bane. Oh. Banelings are morphing in. There's a handful of Banelings ready for this, but only a handful. And Inexorable is committing. There's a lot of creep. He's going to buy some time. Ling Bane mutas amassing. Banelings waddling in. Rolling into the mineral line. Inexorable. Does he notice? Oh, he does. 5 SCVs. Not bad. 6 SCVs. 6 SCV kills. And Inexorable, instead of pushing in, he's going to be clearing up creep, which means Eric has time to build up more Banelings. He has time. More Banelings are morphing in. Looks like Eric should have enough to defend. And he's going for a counterattack with a Mutas. He's counterattacking. Eric has to be so careful. I'm loving the pre-split. Oh, but is it enough? It looks like it barely is. Yeah, Marines, they still maintain themselves. Mutas, they hit the 3rd base. SCVs are going down. And Inexorable just doesn't have enough to keep going. And forced to fight against the Mutas. 1 Muta goes down. 2 Mutas get picked off. Not bad. 2 Mutas falling, but Inexorable, he's forced to race back home. Just did not have enough to keep going. Did not have enough to commit to an all-in. And now Eric is buying more and more time to morph in 14 Banelings. So Eric, he has been successful here at just keeping the army pinned, containing the Terran, and building up at home. Morphing in more Ling Bane. Again, that's a lot of Ling Bane. Mutas, they catch a tank. I please the 5th. Excuse me? Excuse me, Yaku? Who are you pleasing? Ah, no. Not like this. Not like this, Yaku. Not like this. As Eric is double expanding, getting his 4th and his 5th. Getting into his upgrades. Again, his upgrades are going to be far more delayed than the upgrades of Inexorable, but they're getting there. He is working on them. Mutas, they hit the natural. Once again, just keeping Inexorable pinned back at home. 4 CCs on the way. Inexorable is expanding. He is not going for an all-in, but he's pinned at home. He is stuck back at home for at least the near future. He is catching a Widow Mine. Going to be catching out the drop in the middle of the map. The Medevacs are going to be going down. Massive pickups. Medevacs do fall. Marines as well. But the supplies are still quite close, and Inexorable is going to be mixing in some Widow Mines. So not just purely Marine. Widow Mines in the mix. Likewise, Eric investing into Infestors. Getting into those Fungals. Inexorable now taking a 4th. Both players have droned up. Counter close. Eric gonna try to engage. Yeah, some decent Bailey connections, whatever to say. Mind Shot did not go off. 2-2's now done. And Inexorable does clear up a lot of creep. And Eric, now that he's gotten into Hive Tech, is getting into Ultras. Still doesn't have the best melee upgrades for the Ultras or Carapace, but we'll at least have them available. Against Mass Marine Windowmine, it's going to be ideal. There's still a very low Marauder count and no Ghosts. So Ultras, they can be effective. You're just busting into the main. Drop across the map. Up. Is going to be cleaned up though. And again, Eric, he's just buying time for those Ultras. Eric even skipping out of those Evo Chamber upgrades just so we can, I mean, I guess have more gas for more Ultras. And there it is, 5 Ultras on the way, kindness plating as well. Eric is maxed out. But Inexorable is able to successfully defend. Catches more mutas. Very nice catch. But here come the Fungals. But again, Inex able to establish a 4th base. Maintains economy. Inex close to maxing out. Is close. His army does have to retreat. And when it comes to the two main armies clashing, I actually want to favor Eric here with these Ultras. Again, we spoke about it earlier, but where are the Marauders? There's 2 Marauders in this army. That's barely anything. Now soon to be 3. And the Ghosts are popping out as well, but we're not quite there yet. As they catch out the Metamax, massive pickoffs. 2 full Metamax go down. Mutas into the main. And Eric, he hits the 3rd at the same time, and Inexorable moving out towards the left-hand side. The mineral line under fire. Ultras pushing forward. GG gets called. We're going to get the final fight, and Eric will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Just pulling Inex apart with those mutas, buying so much time. Again, there was a window where Eric was vulnerable, where we saw Inex move out initially, but alas, it looks like Eric, he was able to buy enough time, was able to build up barely enough Ling Bane, did survive that kind of initial buy and move out, and took it from there. GG. GG, well played. It was quite risky. It was quite risky to double down on mutas like that, but did get away with it. Hold on. I need to message Eric. I did ask him. Are you still going 2-base Stormhost in ZBT? Oh no. Oh good, oh good. Okay, we're getting into game 2. And Eric, he's Eric is letting us know that again, the last time I saw Eric go to a Stormhost was last year, and he is letting me know that that it takes a lot of control and the build itself is really complex, so he hasn't done it in a while. It takes a lot to get going. For those who don't know, it's 2-base Stormhost with Nidus Swarms as well. I saw it with Nidus Swarms, with like Dropper Lords and Queens everywhere. Like it's true, like it is very. It takes a lot of attention, takes a lot of micro, takes a lot of APM. Maybe that's the way of putting it. There's a lot of moving parts to it. So we might see it during this series, maybe. I look forward to it. Regardless, we're getting to game 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have the Brazilian Terran player. The blue Terran representing the Platinum Heroes, it is Inexorable. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. The red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings, it is Eric. We go. Here we go as we are settling in. Eric going for a gas first build, going gas into pool, into a delayed expansion. I mean, we saw in the previous game that Eric did prioritize Ling speed, but this is a very delayed natural. Eric droning up to 18. Wait, what? Okay, getting up to 18 workers, just now taking his natural base. Again, a very delayed expansion. And we'll see what Eric can get done with this. Ling speed is being researched. Eric pulls out, so he pulls out of gas. Getting into Ling speed, and we'll see if he can make use of those Lings. Yeah, Eric was saying that the build might be, the 2-base Stormhorse build might be even better nowadays because of the new Infestor. Was you curious now? The Infestor does spawn in immediately with a fungal. Does spawn in without needing the upgrade. As opposed to previously. Meanwhile, Inexorable does SCV Scout. With that Scout, he confirms that the expansion is late, but Eric is droning. Like, the mind games are real. Basically, Inexorable, he moves out, he spots how late the expansion is, which means he's expecting aggression, so he pulls away. Meanwhile, Eric has been happily droning. He does have some things on the way now, but Inexorable back at home, bunkers on the way. Throws down a bunker, massing up Marines, taking this very seriously. Now, I assume that Eric would just be droning, and he has been. He's taking a third, and he's only making a handful of Lings. So it's going to be 8 Lings in total. I'm hoping that Eric doesn't invest too heavily into these Lings. Yeah, he's droning, which I do appreciate. So Eric is just droning up, and Inexorable is reacting quite hard. Oh. The observer window? Housing to hit the natural. Ah, that is on Twitch. And it is showing. Oh, I think you're referring to every now and then on Twitch it shows like banner ads where like a banner shows up like under the video or on the side of the video, and I think that like makes it smaller. But I think that's what you're referring to, I think. Otherwise I do see Eric, the initial Ling run by, didn't really get much done, kills 1 Reaper, not much more. Behind this, Roach Warren has been thrown down, gases are being taken. Eric is going to attempt to get into Roach play. Before that does occur though, Inexorable's moving out with Hellions, but the Roaches, they pop out just in time. Just in time, the Hellions are denied. They are zoned away. As Inexorable, he is going to be forced back. And Eric can now freely drone. So despite the interesting start of the game, Eric is droning. That is going to be a bit of a later lair timing here. Just under 5 minutes. Lair is now on the way. Eric has made roaches, but these are just safety roaches. They're just enough to keep up and to deflect the Hellions. Overlord Scout gets eyes on the follow-up. It was 3cc. 3cc 2-on-1. Once again, for those that are curious, this is a very similar build to what we saw in the last game. Very similar. Something interesting here is that we are getting up to 5 Raxes before the starport, which again, I do think this is what Inexorable went for in the last game, but a very delayed starport. And this should lead into an 8-racks. I know that I said an 8-racks previously in game 1. It kind of looked like it was leading that direction. I'm still standing by that here in game 2, but we'll see. As Inexorable did eventually get a 4th CC last game, but that may have only been because of the Munis. Because the game did progress. As basically Inexorable, he's delaying medevac production in favor of more Marines, which means that Inexorable is going to be stuck at home a little bit longer. But when he does move out, it's going to hit like a truck. So he's on those 5 racks. Scan reveals a 3rd, reveals saturation, gets eyes on some roaches. Sure, Inexorable satisfied to see saturation. Devastation bits on the way. This should be for infestors, as Eric is going Roach Ravager, investing into +1 range, and infestors are going to be quite necessary here for Eric to defend against a bio push. The weakness of Roach Ravager is the lack of splash damage, and that's where infestors come into play. Inexorable still not taking gases, but I'm keeping my eyes open, eyes peeled for extra Raxes. But now Armory is on the way for 2-2. Inexorable building up. Getting ready for his bio move out. Okay, as Inexorable is expanding, is taking a 4th CC. The Wiles up! They don't connect. Nice dodge from Inexorable. Chasing this down. Where are the infestors? There are none. Ooh, no infestors here for Eric. He's getting caught out. Roaches are falling left and right. The army stems in. And without infestors, without banelings, oh, Inexorable, he can keep going. He can break through. Getting some of the Ravagers. They will pile down the tank. Ooh, tank goes down. Nice pickup. But again, what about the man with gun? What about the Marines? What is the answer to them? Oh, as it looks like we are barely running out of Marines. Eric will barely hold on, just barely. It was a costly hold. That was what, 22 Roaches going down in a Ravager for 32 Marines and a tank. If Eric hadn't sniped that tank, the game may have just ended. And the game may still end. It's Inexorable. He's still rallying across the map. Eric trying to hold on. Wow, does force a pickup. Eric, he's holding. There we go. Finally, infestors on the way. We could have used them earlier, but regardless. 2 infestors, 2 vipers. Hive is done. A lurker den has been thrown down as well. Eric is teching, and Eric did survive. Behind this, Inexorable did expand. 4th CC. Again, he's not going for a 3-way soul in. 2-2 is almost, well, it's halfway done. Scan reveals the 4th, and it's still a very tense game state here between our 2 players. It could still go either way. Inexorable clearing up some creep. Hydra production has begun. Vipers are out. And the first wave of lurkers are being morphed in as well. Getting into the first wave. But is it going to be enough? Inexorable making his way across the map, catches out some of these roaches. Lurkers do morph in. Here come the Vipers. Vipers have arrived. They get a yoink. They get 2. Catch both tanks. There's still 1 tank left. Upon seeing this army, Inexorable is going to rotate. Another tank, no! Tank gets caught out. Eric does get all 3 tanks. Now it's just a bio army. The fungal lands! Oh my god, an insane fungal! The army gets locked down and is forced to pick up. The lurkers were a little bit late to arrive. Lurkers do not have their upgrade. They have range, but they do not have the adaptive talents. That may have just saved Inexorable. Parabomb across the map. Lurkers burrowing in. Oh, and is Eric overextending? Bile does connect, and there's not enough bio here to really keep going. Eric reinforcing with slow Hydras. Let's go. Hydras have arrived. Eric trying to go for the tank. Will not get it. Eric bleeding out bleeding out a little units. Has to get out of here. We'll pull away. Enix holds. And it's been very scrappy. In the previous fight, Eric did lose all of his infestors. It would have been worth it if the fungal growths had killed the army, but alas, Inexorable survived with most of it. Did survive. Inexorable will take another expansion, getting a 5th. Eric is droning. Let's go. Getting up to 80 workers. Both players are maxing out. Eric did rebuild it Vipers, I believe. Yeah, he's back up to 3 Vipers. 3 Vipers up and running. Expansion is spotted. But Eric is stuck on a lot of roaches. Even though Eric is maxed, like, this army is subpar. And he needs to trade out. We'll catch 3 tanks. 3 tanks going down. Roaches rattling into an army. Again, Eric does start +1 melee, so he's trying to work out of Roach Ravager or Roaches into Lings. Into Ling Bane. See if he can get there. Eric trying to rotate into Ghost, though. Does join 2 of them. Snipes are going up. Boys being rallied in, and it looks like the lurkers are being taken down one after the other. There's 2 lurkers left. They barely hold on. Oh my god, Eric, he takes the fight. With 3 lurkers left, the snipes barely were not enough. CC goes down as well. Then you only got another ghost. The individual abductions on the ghosts. Eric popping off, pulling back. Gonna be able to rebuild. Still on a very high Hydra count. For a moment there, I thought it was Broodlords. I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? What's going on? But Eric does remax. Liberty being an annoyance. Spores are morphing in. Eric going right down mid. Pushing towards the natural, and Inexorable out of position. It's going to be a kill on another CC. Lurker Zubar. Oh my god! Jeez. This is some crazy spine shots. Inexorable, he cannot push into this. Not head on like that. And GG gets caught as he gets caught out of position. Inexorable, he's locked out of his own natural, out of his own main. And Eric will take game number 2. GG. GG, well played. Eric will take the second game. Again, it was very tense is what I will say. Like, Roach Hydra doesn't really trade too amazingly, but Eric, he was barely able to get into his infestors, into lurkers, into vipers, and was able to out-trade his opponents, more importantly, able to out-position. I think that was maybe the standout factor for Eric, is time and time again, he was able to rotate and hit a location that Inexorable wasn't able to keep up with. Inexorable, he was missing the rotations, he was missing the army movement, and he was punished for it quite hard. That's how Inexorable lost an expansion, that's how he lost tanks, that's how he lost Ghost, how he lost the game. And there at the very end, it was, you know, just barely north of the camera, but Eric, he'd rallied into the natural in the main base, and the lurker was just zoning away the ghosts, zoning away the entirety of the main army of Inexorable. GG. GG, well played. That was the kill move that Eric was looking for, and now we're getting into game 3, potentially the final game of the series. I'm hoping we have a back and forth. I'm hoping that Inexorable can bring it back, and I do believe he can. Again, that last game was still quite close. Was close. We'll see. We'll see if Inex can bring it back here, or if Eric takes it all. Here we go. as the third game is going to be on Oceanborn. Hopefully not the final game, but we'll see. We shall see. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings, one of our own. What does he stand for? He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. It is Eric. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Terran player, the Blue Terran representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Inexorable. And Inex is sending out not just one SCV, but 2 SCVs. We are looking to spice things up and go for some cheese, go for a proxy. The Raxes are being thrown down, and Inexorable going for proxy 2 Rax. I'm assuming just 2, yeah, 2 Raxes. The goal here is to throw down bunkers, is to lay siege upon the natural, and to macro behind this. This is not an all-in, it is an aggressive and cheesy start, that is true. But Inexorable can work into a CC behind this, into a factory, and get into a longer game state after taking an economic lead, ideally. Meanwhile, Eric, for the first time this series, hatch, gas, pool. Standard open out of Eric. In games past, we have seen earlier pool timings, earlier gas, and earlier spawning pool, but not this time, not on Oceanborn. And we'll see if Eric can hold, defend, and make it out of this, and survive. We shall see. Now, Eric is leaving his second Overlord parked outside of his natural, so when the SCVs arrive to throw down bunkers, Eric is going to be aware. He will be able to scout and will be able to respond. Ooh, I do like this. Inexorable, he brings a third SCV. Now, because a third SCV has arrived, this makes it look like it's proxy 3 racks, when it's really 2. So yeah, we do kind of try to sell a false story here, a false narrative to Eric. 3 bunkers are thrown down. Eric throwing down the Spine Crawler is going to try to fight for his natural. Spine is on the way. Second Spine Crawler as well. Let's go. And soon to be a third Spine Crawler. So 3 spines, 2 queens, sorry, 1 queen, and Mass Ling. The second queen is delayed in favor of the Spine Crawlers. So just 1 queen to work with. Things are building up. Bunkers are getting up and running. And Inexorable does get eyes on those Spine Crawlers, but if he tries to push forward and get on top of them, then he's going to expose himself to the Lings. Spine Crawlers rotating over, getting within range of one of the southern bunkers. Getting no Marines in the bunker. They do rotate over. And what's important here is that all these Spine Crawlers are only within range of 1 bunker. Spine Crawler is going to go down, the first one at least. The other is going to be forced back. More Lings are building up. So far the repairs are solid. Keeping the bunker up and running. Hatchery is getting low. Spine repositioning. Reburrowing. Hatchery goes down. And Eric's going for an all-in. Baneling Nest has been placed. Eric, his goal here is to break out. Spine Crawler is barely out of range. Up! Barely out of range. Getting free damage. Only 1 Spine Crawler left. Link speed is done. Eric forced into a 1-base all-in. More bunkers on the way. Inexorable has not expanded. He's doubling down. Going for a second line of bunkers. Eric is going to try to break out, but I do favor Inexorable here, especially if the bunkers finish. He can just kite back. He can kite back. Here we do have another Rax on the way, another factory. Here we go, Eric. He does try to bust in. Takes down 2 of the bunkers. But yeah, but there's 3 left. Yeah, Eric, he does not have enough. He's being shut down. Only 3 Lings make it out. Only 3 Lings. And this is how Inexorable comes back in this series. Had a rough game 1 and game 2. I mean, game 2 was still quite close between both players. Even game 1 was close, as Inexorable almost punished the muta play of Eric. But here in game 3, the cheese does come out on top. Eric tried to fight for his natural, tried to break out. Alas, Spine Crawlers went down one after another. Lings are not getting much done. Hellions are about to pop out as well. And Eric just doesn't really have much left. Going for a macro hatch. Lings, they will get out. They do slip out of the main. But there are Hellions back at home. Lings, they can try to catch reinforcements, but outside of that, I don't really think they can do much. We find the production. Raxes will lift back home. Honestly, if Inexorable wanted to, he could have tried to push up the ramp. Like, there's no spine. So I do think that Inexorable could have won the game pushing up this ramp. Instead, he's playing it safe. He's expanding. He's walling. Jesus, he's walling up heavily on one base while denying the expansion. I would have loved to have seen a CC instead of E-base like this, but it's all good. A fusion course on the way. This I was not expecting. So Proxy 2x into Fusion Core is the plan for Inexorable. Let's go. Another bunker's on the way. Here we go. Banelings are going to try to crash in. They take down two of the bunkers. They almost get the third. But again, alas, there's still one bunker left. Eric, he gets us around. He's trading as best he can. One bunker left. But Inexorable, he will clean this up. He will shut this down. Still maintains two bunkers. Still denies the expansion. And the BC, it's on the way. The BC, it's coming, Papi. It's coming. Not just the BC. Hellions. I don't think we need the BC. I'll be honest. With no spines on the high ground, we don't even need the BCs. Hellions, they are tempted, but there are Lings and Banelings to punish this. Oh, Hellions gonna be turned away. Two of them do get surrounded. Nice pickup. Eric does have a threatening enough Lingbane force, but again, he's contained on one base. Inexorable is looking for proxies just in case, looking for ninja bases. And here comes the BC. Is teleporting in. There's only two queens. Only two queens to defend. BC right into the mineral line. And Eric going for the last hurrah, the final breakout. Gets one of the bunkers, but that's all he's going to get. GG gets called, and Inexorable will fight back, and we'll put a point on the board. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Inexorable does fight back and does put a point on the board, and that means we have a back and forth, and that's all that I ever wanted. A back and forth series. It's not going to be a 3-0 in either direction, and this could even go to the ace match. Could even go to the ace match here. Whew. Suddenly, Inexorable has momentum. Does have momentum here. And I'm curious what the next map is going to be. I'm curious. Here we go. Lobby's being made. And we're going to be loading into... I'm not privy to the vetoes. I don't really know what was vetoed. We're going to be loading into Crimson Court. Let's go. Crimson Court is coming up next. And we'll see how Inexorable will approach this. I mean, Crimson Court is an interesting map. Again, as we mentioned before, we have seen a lot of late game on this map. We've seen a lot of late game. We've seen a lot of split map scenarios just because of the features of Crimson Court. If Inexorable wanted to slow things down and get into a longer later game, then he could do so on this map. Otherwise, there is a lot of aggressive potential here from the side of Eric, especially if he does try to take the center expansion and try to get into roach play, for example. And Eric is known for his roaches, very similar to Dark in that sense, but we'll see. We shall see. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, of Crimson Court, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the blue Terran representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Inexorable. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Eric. So what have I read? Let's go. Again, Eric, he's been a CranKy Duckling for many, many years at this point, of course. One of the OG Ducks from our initial roster. My favorite son. You hear that, Oreo? Shaking my head, shaking my head. Este Oreo. Lattimore. And Eric is going, interesting, going for a hatch gas pool. This time, no earlier spawning pool, no earlier gases. Things are looking normal from the side of Eric. And this time, likewise, Inexorable going for a Rax expand. This time, no proxy. No Raxes out on the map, no crazy proxy, nothing wild. We're calming things down here on Crimson Court. This is how real macro games look like. You're an animal, Pap. You're an animal. Oh, no. You're like, look, he took a CC at the end of the game. Macro builds, Pappy. Macro build. True, true. Kappa. As in CC on location, SCV Scout does confirm the timing of the hatchery. Inexorable is aware. We do see Eric investing into 6 Lings. Again, he's always a little bit more Ling heavy. Does rush into Ling speed as well. Didn't pull out a gas earlier. Just now pulling out instead. Again, Eric just being secure. Not really sure if Inexorable is really one to open up to Rex Reaper. Regardless, Eric just playing it out safe. And we do see our dance, our initial dance here between the Reaper and the Lings. Things getting softened up, but Eric does defend. Does defend back at him, Inexorable going 3cc. Now, every game so far, every macro game that we've had so far from Inexorable, he has gone 3cc 2-1-1 without fail. I'm curious if he continues that trend or if we do spice things up and go into something like a Banshee-based opener instead. Meanwhile, early roaches. Let's go. 3-minute roach one here from Eric. And Inexorable, are we going for the Rax or are we going for the Starport? Tech Lab is on the way. And it is going to be 3cc 2-1-1. Oh boy. So because of this, we're going to have an abundance of Marines to work with, and of course Stim as well, but we will be lacking, you know, more higher tech units like Banshees, tanks. The Hellion count's going to be a little bit lower as well. I am going to be concerned for Inexorable. I mean, he should be active soon with the next wave of Hellions, and it's going to be on Inexorable to scout and confirm the roaches. Overlord does get eyes on the second Rax, so Eric is aware of the 2-1-1. Roaches are amassing. And additional roaches are on the way as well. Eric will supply block for a moment, but is continuing with his roaches. Hellions are poking in. Will be stowed away by the queens. And Eric is going for the all-in. He's spotted! Eric is not joining his cutting workers at 32, and it's nothing but Lings and Roaches rallying everything across the map. He can morph in Ravagers once they do get across. But it's all or nothing for Eric. Does have a third, but just for Larva. And Inexorable, he does react quite hard. We have a wall of bunkers on the way. He has Hellions, he has submarines. Not much else. Sim is not yet done. Inexorable is vulnerable. And here comes Eric. Does push forward, takes on the first Hellion. Boys are being pulled. Not too many Lings to work with. The Roaches are going down. Bunkers are not yet done, but they're about to finish. The bunkers are about to finish up. Again, more boys being pulled, buying time. Lings are being cleaned up as well. We're down to 4 Roaches. Catching more reinforcements though. Up! Trying to get into the bunker. And the bunker is finished. The Marines are safe. And Inexorable holds. Inexorable does defend against the bunkers. They finish up just in time. And the question becomes, was that enough damage? I would say not. 11 SCVs went down, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. You know, there's lost mining time, mules as well, and hey, we're even getting more SCVs. Wait, what? This should not be happening. Inexorable, a little bit asleep at the wheel here. 5 more SCVs! Okay, 5 more workers for 2 roaches. 6 more workers for 2 roaches. Yeah, Inexorable, a little bit preoccupied, was maybe assuming that there were going to be reinforcements at the natural. Inexorable not taking those 2 roaches seriously. And suddenly, what should have been only 11 worker kills now turns into 17. Okay, Eric. So initially I was going to say it wasn't worth it because there's a third base. There's a third base, which means triple SV production, triple mule production as well. And the third base now being taken. So even though Inexorable lost a lot of workers, he can replace them. That still is the case, but now he has more to recover. Meanwhile, drop across the map. Headed for the main. Eric getting to 1-1. Still droning. Eric does spot this, but doesn't have much to work with. The roaches do respond, but the mineral line is exposed. And these are slow roaches. Getting 2, 3, 4, oh my, 6 drones. Oh my god! The target firing. 7 drones. 7 workers. Oh no! 7 workers go down, but alas, the medevac rallies into the queens and the spore. Eric will shut down the drop. At least there is that kind of solitude to him. Does at least gain that value. Drop here towards the natural. This time roaches are ready. Eric will defend. Still a very scrappy game state. Wait, Eric does have the worker lead, but Inix, of course, has mules. It's not that clear cut. Eric trying to keep up. 4th base now being taken. Eric knocking down the drugs, making sure this location isn't abused either. And Inex is working on his own move out. This time with Stim, +1, combat shields, tanks as well. Inexorable is building up. Just going for drop play for the time being. Initially going for drops. Eric trying to maintain with Roach Ravager. 2-2 has just begun. Because of the drop, this position is a little bit more vulnerable for Inexorable. Eric is going to be denied. I mean, he is spotted, but again, there's not that much fire here. Inexorable getting caught with his pants down. The bars they connect. They take out one of the tanks. 1 tank does fall. 2nd tank as well, but there's a 3rd tank behind this. And even if Inexorable holds on, he's losing every single SCV. 21 workers going down. Mules as well. At the same time, drop across the map. Gets a handful of drones. But reinforcements, they fall back just in time. And Eric, he will defend. Will bleed out 7 drones in the process. But that's still a better trade for Eric. Just barely better. And he's getting ready for wave number 2. He's getting ready for that 2nd wave. There's still that tank on the high ground. There's 1 more tank on the low ground. Bunker is ready to be used, but alas, the tanks are a little bit too far back. At least one of them is. The other can help support. Eric mining at the 3rd. Forcing a lift. Eric's trying to get high ground vision. Ooh, the Overseer does pull back. And here come the Biles. Yeah, Eric now within range. Biles will connect. They take down the 1st tank. And now the 2nd. And Eric, he's snowballing out of control. And Inexorable was just an unfortunate timing for him to move out with that drop when he did. Lost his first round of tanks, now he's losing his second, and Eric, he's snowballing out of control. We did have a back and forth series, and I would say that game 1 and game 2 were far closer, but here, Eric, he does have momentum, does deny mining, 4th base getting up and running, that is true, but that's still just so much rich Ravager. Brings down another tank. The tank goes down, 21 more SCVs. Eric just rallying in, trying to brute force through his way, trying to brute force his way through to the main, and he will. Knocks down the depot, camp of the production, points are being pulled. And the last separation hold here for NX. He's trying to hold on, Papi. Comes in for the surround. But the target firing from Eric, he does focus down to every single marauder with those roaches. Does have too much. GG, well played gets called, and Eric will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's Code for Giants Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Eric as he does claim the series. My condolences to Inexorable. He did put up a fight, and again, game 1 and game 2 were far closer, especially considering that Eric was almost punished for going into mutas in game 1. Course, in game 2 was almost punished as well, as we had some very scrappy fights, very scrappy games. Here we saw Eric kind of in his element, achieving a lot more with his roach aggression. You know, each time he pushed in, even though he would never really kill Inexorable, he would cripple the economy. And I'm still reminded of those 2 MVP roaches in the main base getting 6 worker kills, despite the fact that they were on just a slither of HP. Those roaches had no right to get that many worker kills. It was insane how much damage they dealt. It was impressive. GG. GG, well played. It was impressive. This week we were missing some key players as well. This time there was no Yan. There was no Master either. So we were missing some of the other heavy hitters in Brazil, but we still had the other favorites like Eric, Inexorable, Kamikaze, and Shakti as well. So I do appreciate that we were able to embrace them with that. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Eric will claim victory here, and I'm sure we'll see both of these players and many more in 2 weeks. Again, this is a bi-weekly tournament. Every 2 weeks we do host the Code for Giants Cup. I say we. Cosmos hosts the Code for Giants Cup. It is a Brazilian-only tournament, hosted and organized by the Brazilian scene. So much love to Cosmos. Obrigado, papi, obrigado. Much love to Cosmos for making this happen, making this a reality. Always a lot of fun coming together with all the Brazilian players and the Brazilian scene. Much love. Much love. GG. GG, well played. No. Otherwise, if you wish to help support the CranKy Ducklings and our channel here, you can follow us. You can follow us on all the social medias. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Discord, we have all things CranKy Ducklings in one way, shape, or form. Likewise, you can support us on Patreon, or you can subscribe on Twitch as well if you wish. You can subscribe, you can become a patron, you can get replay packs from this very tournament. We do send out replays if you want to play like Eric, if you want to be an animal. Likewise, if you want to learn how to cheese like Inexorable like he did in game 3, you can do so. You can do so with those replays if you wish to study them. We do have them, we do provide them to our subscribers as always. And yeah, with that, thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. Again, this is our only cast of the day. Yes, like we usually have multiple casts throughout the day, and it can get quite intense. But today, just the one. Because of that, I'm tempted to ladder, but I also barely slept. Oh god, I barely slept. I'm quite tired. Despite that, I do want to get in at least a couple of hours of ladder, so may as well, papi, may as well. Okay. So despite being tired, we may as well just ladder for a couple of hours, and then we'll nap. Then we'll get some sleep. Get some sleep later on. But that's going to be the plan. It's going to be the plan. If you're curious about our next broadcast here on the CranKy Ducklings, our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow. It is going to be in over 24 hours, just over 24 hours. We're going to be live on this channel with the Pondcast. curious, what is the podcast? It is our weekly roundup or week recap show. It's a bit of a podcast for SC2 where we just go over the events of the week and any interesting news that has occurred as well, that we can go over, that we can discuss. Again, there aren't really many SC2 talk shows anymore, so we're trying to kind of fill that void, especially because we're in the off season, so there is more free time available to us. There's less casting to do, so again, we do have a slot available to go over things and like a talk show. On top of that, going to be laddering on my personal channel right after this. You can follow me on light_VIP. I do not ladder on this channel. I only ladder on my personal channel. We do leave this channel only for casting, only for pro tournaments, or pro and semi-pro and even amateur tournaments in general. Casting reserved here for the CranKy Ducklings. Sometimes we have some team game streams, but those are a little bit rarer, as a lot of the other Ducklings are otherwise busy and preoccupied, so don't get to team game too often. But yeah, you can follow us over on the CranKy over on my own personal channel. I'm gonna go live after this. I'm not gonna ladder for too long though. Just a couple of hours. Just a couple of hours. Unless I get like my second wind, and keep things going. We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast, or in a couple of minutes for a cheeky ladder session. Expect some smudge though, Papi. Expect some smudge, because my brain is not ready for ladder. it'll be fine, Papi. It'll be fine. So I'll see you there over on my personal channel. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast, or during the weekend for everything else. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, thank you for watching. Hasta luego. Obrigado. 안녕 하세요. 감사합니다. There you go. 감사합니다. See you next time. Ciao.